So we're going to do like this kind of stuff, which is a bit more than just rocking it out, kind of thing.
So a very different experience for you than if you're on stage with anything else that you would do.
Completely. This is it's more real in a strange sense, not the true black metal real, but it's just very different, and I love that feeling. It takes me just back to that occult thing, Most people, I think, have a little alter ego inside, but we're, in a way, allowed to let it out. I can go on that stage and just be mad as fucking hate and all the mystic stuff and everything. It's a ritual, like it's a full-on ritual. And even though, we're a bunch of 50-year-olds, it's cool anyway.
Yeah. Greetings, Legion. Welcome to episode 286 of Into the Necrosphere. This week, I'm going to be presenting to you something that I've never attempted on the show before. 3 separate conversations celebrating and discussing at length the Gehenna reunion show. Gehenna played on the 2nd of August in Grieghallen as part of Beyond the Gates 2025. Their first show in their original lineup for over 2 decades. It was an exceptional set. Very well received, and I had the opportunity to sit down with my very good friend Svartalv, the bassist for Gehenna, over lunch on the day of the show. We also caught up backstage as he was getting ready, and then about 2 weeks later, we had another conversation during which he'd had an opportunity to digest the experience and reflect on what it was like being on stage with his band, as well as talk on a number of other topics. We covered a couple of personal things. We also spoke a bit about Nocturnal Breed and what the future for that project might look like. A bunch of other things beside. It's coming your way very shortly. Like I said, something that I've never attempted to do before, but I hope you're going to enjoy. And if nothing else, at least from my side, the intent is for it to be a tribute to a reunion that was, truly exceptional, and that if you've been following this podcast, you've been able to view this unfold from, I think, a very special and very intimate vantage point. So that's coming your way very shortly. Before we get to that, we got us a premiere on the Sphere. It comes to us courtesy of Australia's Conspiracy X, a band that features none other than the man who never sleeps, Matt Brizzo. They've got a brand new EP on the way, and from that EP, for the very first time, you get to hear a track called Beast and Blood. Beast and Blood by Conspiracy X off their upcoming EP Ground Zero, to be released this side of Christmas. Knowing the rate at which the man who never sleeps, Matt Brizzo, puts out records, I'd be surprised if we don't get another Conspiracy X EP after that this side of Christmas. That being said, hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure that you head over to the Conspiracy X Bandcamp, buy yourself some music, put a little pre-order in for this EP when that goes up, and when you do, you let Matt and the gang know that it was old Jackson at Into the Necrosphere who sent you. If you are in an unsigned band and you want to be featured on the Unsanctioned Filth cold open of each episode of Into the Necrosphere, then hit me up on intothenecrosphere@gmail.com. Drop me a line on Facebook, Instagram, or X. If I like what I hear, then I will feature it on the show. Just do me a solid. Don't send me your Bandcamp link and expect me to pay for the privilege of promoting your band. A quick reminder as well that I am a card-carrying member of the Cosa Nostra of podcasting, otherwise known as the Horsemen of the Podcasting Apocalypse. We kick your week off every Monday with a fresh installment of Horrorwolf 666, hosted by Brandon Legion. On a Tuesday, yours truly casts hexes and slays poses right here on Into the Necrosphere. Next week, I'm catching up with Infernal from the band Disaster. Their brand new album, Kill All Idols, crushes dorks from pillar to post. We spoke about the album, we spoke about the band's history, and a whole lot more besides over the course of about an hour. So that's coming your way next week. Before you get to that, of course, you'll have Wednesdays, our first double shot, where you get to hear Everything Went Black, hosted by Mike Hill from the band Tombs, as well as Iblis Manifestations, and that is brought to you by Cheyenne from the band Trivax, the Middle Eastern Marauder, my brother from another mother. He and I have got something pretty cool cooking up from a content perspective. I know that you guys really enjoyed the Greg Harlan walkthrough that we did. This one's going to be a little more Trivax focused, but keep your eyes peeled, particularly on that Into the Necrosphere YouTube channel, because I've got something special coming your way if you're a Trivax fan. On a Thursday, we have your second double shot of the week, Necromaniacs. That is also brought to you by Sensei Mike Hill, and he is joined by the Outlaw Mike Scandado, the Professor Jeff Gashid. They review new and old horror movies, making for one of my favorite shows of the week. We also have on a Thursday and again on a Sunday, Soul Knox, and that is brought to you by none other than the sinister minister, the Reverend Carl Haikara. He takes you on a journey through the dark, the weird, the arcane, and the esoteric. A lot of love for the sinister minister from the Legion. You guys thoroughly enjoyed his appearance on the Weekly News Rant last week. This week, I have for you my very good friend Marco from Stellar Master Elite, coming your way from Germany. The man who I incidentally recorded the very first episode of Into the Necrosphere with over 6 years ago, and it was a busy one for new releases. We listened to and gave you our first impressions of new singles by Testament, 1914, Der Weg Einer Freiheit. We spoke about a couple of other topics too, so that's coming up later on in the show. Right now, though, I would like you to sit back and enjoy as I present to you a conversation in 3 parts with my very good friend Svartalv from Gehenna.
Last night I was drinking wine with Garl. Today I'm having lunch with Svartalv. So, and lunch in in very beautiful surroundings. But when we started, when we were talking earlier, I said to you, it feels like even just from the time I've known you, you've traveled a very, very long road to kind of get to this particular point in time.
Yeah.
How are you feeling now that we're hours away from the first time that you'll be playing with Gehenna since the 90s?
It is surreal. Like, it's taken, I think I actually needed the time to prepare my mind and everything, because I keep going back in time, back and forth into feelings, atmospheres, nerves, and all the things with meeting the people that still are close friends, but we haven't had that much contact and stuff, and preparing. So it's, like I told you, we spent the last couple of days in a car up in the woods outside Bergen just to get the emotion kind of thing, the feelings going. So we left Stavanger, where we were rehearsing like a day before the others, to try to just get into the mood. And yeah, it's still surreal. The nerves aren't really there. I'm not nervous going out on a stage and presenting, because it feels so I don't know, it's in my fingertips kind of thing. The feeling we had with Gehenna, and now that we have been rehearsing and it's sounding good and it's sounding proper like Gehenna should sound, and we're not putting on a fucking act like all AC/DC dads, and we're just doing it exactly like we did back then. We're all making our stage equipment from weird things we have around the house and buy here and there, and there is no Lego uniforms on all the people.
You're not using the L'Oreal corpse paint kit.
No, we have it
Available now
We
while
have the
stocks last.
Hello Kitty kits.
You saw that L'Oreal
No, I heard
black metal makeup.
Yeah, I heard about it.
That to me is the biggest
It's-
fucking disgrace I've ever seen in my
All
life.
those kind of things. Like I heard about this woman making soaps, black metal kind of, with the masks of the makeup of the dudes. You got your Abbat soaps or whatever. It's like, for me, it's just kind of sidetracking completely. But all that kind of turning into a little bit of like commercial circus on the sides,
Yeah.
which is kind of weird. And we notice now with doing the Gehenna thing again, because we kind of just, at least me, I've just kept my head out of it for such a long time. And I took a break since 2019. I haven't done anything with Nocturnal Breed. I haven't played any gigs. Haven't done anything. And then like coming back just in those 5 years, the scene is changing. People are changing. The commercial side is changing. The way the festival is treating bands is changing. The hipster fucking shit is taking over. And it's more emphasis on the commercial things, like the drag thing, with the presenting clothes at Inferno, all these things that is really weird to have like in the scene at all. So it's noticeable that everything's been changing.
Yeah,
And it doesn't help it.
and not for the better.
Not for
Because
the better,
I
no.
feel like it's not just that it's changing. I don't mind change. What I mind is when you're trying to turn something. Thank you so much. When you try and turn something into. Thank you so much.
Cheers.
You try and turn something that was never intended to be commercially palatable, accepted by the masses, all about peace, love, and embrace and inclusion. You try and turn it into that. It just feels wrong. It's like trying to I don't know. It's like trying to use a skateboard for a race car. It's just two fucking completely different things.
It is. And like that thing you had when you were on the panel last year, when you have that woman talking about, how offended she kind of is, but the kind of hatred in black metal and stuff. Well, then you just need to get out of it and start listening to something else, or because like that's the whole thing. You just offend.
Yeah.
It's not one particular race or people or anything. It's just like fuck you. That's the whole fucking clue about.
I was about to
this
say
fucking
the
music.
whole point was to be provocative.
Yeah.
It was a an act of defiance, musical rebellion, and being provocative.
Yeah, about all and everything, basically, like just removing yourself from the norm of everything. Because there's shit and idiot stuff in this scene as well. But it started out with just rejecting everything that was around. It's like in the early 90s there, it was like since the 80s kind of was still floating into the 90s. You could still kind of feel that weird kind of 80s things where shit just got so plastic and fucked up at the end of the 80s. And it took a while for the 90s to kind of like get into that. And then it went into, I don't know, weird music and techno stuff and grunge music and all that stuff. It's just a lot of stuff to rebel against and point your fingers at and burn down and all kinds of things.
Yeah. The anticipation for Gehenna is high. You could tell every time that they played a Gehenna song over the PA while we were sitting in Greek Island over the last couple of days. You could tell the energy is lifting every time people hear it. People walking around with Gehenna shirts.
All this is for us. I've seen one Gehenna back patch in my whole life. I barely.
And that was on my
haven't
shirt.
really noticed. Yeah. And she told me about that she saw a bunch of Gehenna back patches at Inferno and stuff, and all. It's kind of like dawning on us now. There's like maybe these albums meant a bit more. I've been having like the 1349 and Frost and Silenos and all kinds of people like sending like greetings and good luck and all this stuff pouring in on my phone for a couple of days. It's like, well, it actually means a bit more than what we thought when we just recorded a couple albums and then went each to our own direction kind of thing.
Yeah, no, it 100%. You even saw it at Fortress. There are tons of people walking around in Gehenna t-shirts at Fortress, so it's all over. But the point I was going to make earlier, just to close that train of conversation off, is you're talking about like, all the changes in music, thrash into black metal, and then, kind of metal took a backseat to grunge and stuff like that. The stuff that endures are the things that's authentic and that's been dangerous and that's been provocative. Whether you want to talk about Black Sabbath, Motorhead, Mayhem, Bathory, that's the stuff that endures. A lot of this fucking fly-by-night rainbow black metal, it's not, no one's going to know it, but no one will remember it in 10 years' time.
You see it in all those music trends, in black metal as well.
Yeah.
You see those trends coming and going. I'm not going to mention a whole bunch of names, but they come in little 5-year waves.
Yeah.
And then they disappear. And I can kind of smell them from afar. It's like, no, this is just going to be a little kind of thing.
It was like the mid-90s when everybody was trying to do, everyone was trying to jump on the gothic black metal band.
Yeah.
And it was all half of them trying to sound like Crematory with a screaming vocalist, and it was fucking atrocious. No one knows any of those bands anymore.
I started getting this bad feeling in my stomach when I started seeing the latex pants. So
Yeah.
it wasn't leather or just like proper, just like black metal, black tight jeans kind of anymore. It's like, what are you doing with those kind of latex things? And that just grew and grew. And on the side, of course, you had people like Marilyn Manson and stuff, just like pummeling, that kind of stuff to the whole world.
Yeah.
So when I saw like bands like, for an example, like Covenant and stuff that just went very far into the, dreads and plastic and stuff, for me, it just walked the wrong way.
Yeah. Do you think there's an argument to be made that for a period of time, Marilyn Manson was actually being a lot more provocative than a lot of black
I worked
metal
for
bands?
Marilyn Manson.
Really?
Yeah, when he had the... What tour was that? I don't know if it was the Antichrist tour. His whole stage was like podiums. He had like this red things looking...
Oh, that was Golden Age of the Grotesque.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I worked on that.
I actually saw him on that tour.
And I got to see like his full... Because we put up the full stage. And it impressed me because he had only old shit. Looks like he'd been to like, garbage place and picking up and putting shit together. It smelled, it was old. And the way he was kind of acting and being was like, you're much more dangerous than Mayhem today, kind of thing, So yeah, he was, and he didn't give a shit, properly didn't give a shit, He's been fighting on stage for his fucking madness to survive and just going crazy. And people were scared, parents were scared. He had his own little satanic fucking panic going, even though it wasn't my music kind of thing. And I was looking completely in different directions then because I was doing Nocturnal Breed, so he wasn't like in my scope at all. But of course I can see how the whole world reacted fucking to him.
When Antichrist, I was about to say Antichrist Imperium, Antichrist Superstar, I've got Antichrist Imperium on the brain. When Antichrist Superstar came out, I mean, that was like full bore, like right back to 1986 Satanic Panic stuff.
Yeah.
People were losing their minds about it.
Yeah, and that album is actually pretty good. When I go
There's
listen to it
great
like
songs
20
on that
years
album.
after, and I got to like a proper listen to it, it's like, yes, this is good. And it just continues what Al Jurgensen, and I see him as industrial.
Yeah.
And he just continued that we don't really give a fuck thing that Al and Nine Inch Nails and all that those people had, and Frontline Assembly, and which really started like in the mid 80s actually, and early 80s, or even Al's first band is like 78, I think. So he's just like ridiculously early.
Well, now unfortunately Al is basically he gets the transcripts for for whatever was said on MSNBC the night before, and he goes, "Yeah, these are going to be badass lyrics."
So
now that I'm off the old Chinaman's nightcap, the old yam.
Please go back. I know it's not good for you, but please go back. Chase that fucking.
Now that he's off the White Lotus, he can't write lyrics anymore.
And I listened to those re-recordings of the old songs. Yeah, some from Twitch and some from the first one.
Yeah.
I just go back to the old ones anyway.
Yeah.
Because I like those as well.
Yeah.
But I still want to go back to the original recordings. It was okay, but it had this smell of 2025 that was.
Yeah, it sort of has this. It's got this very boxy, plasticky feel to it. I mean, I took his descent into being completely and utterly mid. It's one of the few people where I took it really personally, because I have so much affection for Psalm 69 and for Filth Big. I mean, I'm like Filth Big. I'm obsessed over that album. Like, those records meant a huge amount to me, and then to hear the shit that he was putting out, when you're quoting fucking, or you're sampling Greta Thunberg and stuff like that. It's just like, this is, what the
I
hell
have
has
to
happened
completely
to you?
turn off my head actually, because it's one of those things I just kind of skipped a bit through, and it's like nope. Like
Yeah.
like I heard you say on the podcast, it was like some of us in his George Bush era.
Yeah.
At least there was a couple, like half the album was pretty good.
Yeah.
You get a bit tired of the fucking samples
Yeah.
from George Bush and stuff, but at least the songs were pretty good. But now it's just completely fucking boring.
Yeah, it's dreadful music, complete pandering to, whatever bullshit is in the news.
Yeah.
And again, unfortunately, the way the scene has changed, that herd mentality, there's just too many people that fucking flock along and clap like trained seals. Ah, yeah. Al is so switched on because he said this person I don't like is bad.
No, it's not switched on, it's switched off.
Yeah,
And it's
fucking
starting to
100%.
show, his age is starting to show.
Yeah.
Because he's like 63, I think now, 60
Yeah.
or something.
I think he's maybe even older than that, like 60, 65 maybe. I mean, he looks like he's 165, but
He does.
when you live,
But he's
when you,
been
when
around
you
much longer.
burn
than
the candles at both ends, you pay the price.
Fuck yeah! It's actually that he even walks.
Yeah.
It's pretty like impressive.
So when was the last Gehenna show that you played? Before like before today, when was the last one ever?
31 years ago, April, I think, in Oslo, at this little festival at the Lusa Lottes, which was just basically a pub where all the black metal people used to hang out before everyone kind of moved down to Elm Street.
So 1994?
1994, yeah. We were supposed to play that night with Satyricon, Ulver, Gorgoroth, and Gehenna.
Yeah.
Satyricon and Ulver was no show, so it was only us and Gorgoroth. And
Still not a bad lineup.
no, and the day before was Dissection, Marduk, and it was
Great-
like the
great lineup.
For 4 days with all the bands people now completely adored to death. That's the last gig we played there. The guys, or me too, got on a train back home, and we did the second Spell album, I think, just after that, and I quit. When we were making, I don't know why we didn't play any concerts around the second Spell album. I have no idea. We weren't like in that kind of mindset. We just wanted to make music. So we went from one album into the next album kind of thing. And the band went on tour like just weeks after I quit, really. So yeah, 31 years.
And then you had your time in the wilderness.
Yeah.
which brings us to well, we one day I think we need more time to talk about those things, and obviously you must share about that what you feel comfortable sharing. But we'll say you had your time in the wilderness, and then here we are now. Let me ask you this question: like, when did the conversation start to just like that Gehenna might do a show, like whether you guys might look at rekindling things?
It's like darkly, ironically enough, it started with Ben Hellion's funeral in December 2020. Oh fuck! I have to be careful with my 2022. I think I'm so sorry if it's wrong, but we had a funeral for him. He was a guitarist from Nocturnal Breed, and he was a guy that was a couple of years younger than us, but he was always hanging out with Gehenna, helping us with, doing all the, just basically being around, taking some pictures, helping out, hanging out, just drinking beers and carrying stuff, and he was just a good friend of us, and I got him into Nocturnal Breed. So all of us knew him with Gehenna, so I went over for his funeral. Suddenly half of Gehenna was there in the church as well. And I was meeting with Dolgar because he let me kind of come there and stay there for that funeral thing. And we have this thing called Gravøl, which is basically grave beers we have after, a little meeting you have after the funeral thing. And I think Sunrub was in Spain, strangely enough, on his first holidays in Spain, which gives me pictures in my head, which is fun, but still. And he sent a message to Dolgar because they knew I was there and was like, should we, maybe, can you talk to Svartalv about maybe we can. And Dolgar just kind of sold that little idea in me, like, should we just wait a couple of months and see how this goes? And I had to just go home and think it through.
How did
For like half
he
a year, I
sell
think.
it into you?
Just basically, Sunrub's asking, do you want to try to do this? And that little sentence just sold this thing in my head. And of course, I started to go home listening to the albums again. I hadn't listened to the albums for many, many, many years. Getting into the feel and kind of like, because I need to like what I'm doing. I can't kind of like, be half-assed
I wanted to ask you, you mentioned earlier about this process that you went through over the last couple of decades. I think it sounded like what you were saying, you're making peace with what happened with Gehenna. Was there a level of resentment in you about how you exited the band?
Yeah, but I think that was more a confused version of almost resenting myself and the way I was stressing in my life and
Yeah.
just fucking running forward instead of stopping, thinking. A lot of fucking partying and drinking, so I wasn't really quite there. Just making rash decisions, and a little bit irritated because I felt like Gehenna was falling a bit down the death metal path, and that wasn't quite me kind of thing. I wanted to go further into the woods. That's why I joined Satyricon, to go further into the woods, and of course they moved the fuck out of the woods with Nemesis Divina kind of things. I want to do still wanted to do the cryptic kind of black metal thing. And I didn't feel Gehenna was quite there. I might have been a bit pissy, kind of like a pissy kid, basically. I was gonna fucking move, but I shouldn't have gotten up and just moved. I went, called my dad, pick up my shit, get me to the train. 9 hours later, I wasn't living in Oslo. Like, I didn't think that shit through. I thought it through for a weekend and then did it kind of thing. So.
No, the thing is also at that point you were 25 years old?
No. I was 18.
Oh, Jesus.
18
Okay,
and
so
a
even
half.
younger.
Yeah.
And that's, being impulsive is just part of being that age.
And with all the partying stuff going, also, I remember I kind of lived in Stavanger and I used 50,000. Like I got from my mom when I turned 18. I got 50,000 to kind of try to get settled. And I just drank it all. And after that, it was chaos, complete fucking chaos. So I think, yeah, there's a resentment to myself and the way I reacted, a bit irritated that the guys were getting a bit hooked on what for me then was like the modern death metal feeling that came with Morbid Angel, the Domination album, and Samael, the Opposites album, and all that stuff. It's just a weird thing in me. I start rebelling like this little pissy punk rocker, which is the same thing I did in Satyricon after a year or something. I got pissy, it wasn't my fucking thing. Satyr took that thing into a much more commercial realm than I thought it would. So,
Are you surprised by how popular they've become?
yes, in a way, but still, it's Satyricon. It already then sold just the logo, fucking just sold. So people just naturally just kind of fell into it. But yeah, but all the bands like we talked about before, like around somewhere between 95, 96, all the little 180s and U-turns and 360s and all kind of bands started to do stuff. And Satyricon kind of set a new standard, I think, with that one. And you have that section that the Sombolem album, and I think those, and of course some other bands and stuff too. It just changed, and it got stuck in people now. But I can see for Satyricon, it is those three first albums that people insanely love, and then it kind of fades a bit out after that kind of thing.
Yeah, I will confess, and I was going to ask your opinion on this just as a black metal dude and someone who played with the band. I have always had a really soft spot for Rebel Extravaganza. I was 19 when that came out, and it was very, very different. So it took me by surprise when I first heard it. But it was an album that the more I listened to it, the more I loved it. Nowadays, I love it. And actually, one of my very favorite Satyricon songs is on a later album. It's To the Mountains.
Oh yeah.
I feel like that song gets very much overlooked in the degree to which it recaptures the vibe of the first two albums.
I can hear stuff here and there because I'm a bit impartial,
Yeah.
to the, but it's I don't know. I haven't listened to the whole Rebel Extravaganza album ever.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, dude.
I feel almost a bit ashamed, but no, I never put it on and listened to it from A to Z.
Yeah.
Never. So it's for me, everything that came after Nemesis Divina has been a song here and a song there. And maybe I should sit down and listen to it because, my good friend Frost is in it. So I should, in a way, kind of as a more respect to him, to listen more through it instead of kind of sitting on the sidelines, being a bit pissy about it. Because they took a modern kind of way, because that's what they did, after Nemesis. It started with Nemesis, was a change, and then Rebel just kind of took it somewhere else, into that modern realm, and that's where I just fell off.
Well, I mean, Rebel. I remember when the press photos started coming out.
Yeah.
and the corpse paint had changed completely. It looks like they were
Oh, yeah.
taking photos, in a fucking
It's
mine.
it's a big comment, like I talked about earlier. Like in those, like 97, 98, there, that's everyone changed their whole thing, and the clothes and the image and all that. That didn't sit well with me. That's like on the Satyricon tour too, when I kind of like came to the conclusion that I'm gonna start my own metal thrash kind of band instead. That became Nocturnal Breed because I don't want to be part of this modern black metal, which is kind of weird to say now since it was 1996. But to me, it felt really modern and weird, and I was kind of close to Nocturnal Koto, and he also like kind of spaced out a bit. Then kind of cut his hair a bit shorter, like not quite long, not quite short, like in the middle there. And a lot of silver shirts and headsets and electronic music and stuff. Like everyone's like, why? Everyone's fucking leaving like the old shelter we had that was like black metal. Suddenly all the doors were open and everyone's kind of like spreading out of there. It just felt weird. And it's easier for me now to look back and say, I can understand that people want to change and do different things and experiment.
Well, that's the thing.
But
If
back
I'm
then I
playing,
was pissy about it, yeah.
if I'm playing devil's advocate, we were talking about your age earlier being 18, but my personal experience was the most I grew and changed as a person was between the age of 20 and 35. 20 and probably 25 was when most of these guys were starting those bands.
Yeah.
So it's no one should be surprised at how things change.
No, it is natural. I think for me, actually, that thing came in two bolts. It came around then,
Yeah.
and then I would say I had a big kind of learning from going from 40 to almost 50, like now. That too, because basically stopped, wait, and think, like the old nuclear assault song. I kind of followed that thing, and then I
Yeah.
kind of had to relearn myself. Like, oh, did I do that? That was fucking stupid, and kind of like systematically going through my whole life there because I was kind of like stuck in a relationship with a bunch of kids and stuff, and I'd maybe kind of think different.
You also get, I mean, I've had this from when I turned 45. You start to reflect a lot on your life.
Yeah.
I've heard older guys tell me that you're going to do that, and you think, ah, fuck it, I won't do that.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
you turn 45 and you start to think an awful lot about things. I find myself thinking about, why do I like certain things? Why did I make certain decisions? Why do I do certain things? And then you start, maybe I think too deeply about it, but I've always believed in that line of and I used this when I spoke to Gaul last night as well. You are the sum of every decision you've ever taken in your life.
Yeah.
Like where you are right now
Yeah.
is the sum total of every single decision you've ever taken in your life.
That feeling is what came with being in the forties. Is that thing
Yeah.
you realize that okay, and it's only you. It's not everyone else. You can't all that finger pointing shit.
Yeah.
You have to start by point at yourself, go through yourself. And I think there's a reason why you have books like the Kabbalah. You're not supposed to read that book until you're 45.
Really? Yep. I didn't know
So that's one of the few things the Jews had right. And we're not going to go into that topic now. But yes, there is, and certain other things I heard about. There's several occult books and stuff that you shouldn't really get into it until you're actually honest with yourself, fully open with yourself, and your bad sides and your shitty sides and all these things before you start like really going into the deep dark of those kind of more mysterious books and things like that.
So what were the things that helped you kind of get yourself out of this funk from the last 6-7 years? Because we've spoken about occult stuff. We've spoken about, I mean, just getting getting your head down, grinding out the sets and reps in the forest, and but what? Let's maybe say what was the catalyst that made you realize, fuck, I need to shift gears here, and how did you manage to stay on track, stay on course, get to where you ultimately ended up being?
It was like doing like almost like a monk. It was that thing, sitting alone, being alone, feeling alone, and thinking about it like a grown-up person. Like, what should I do? What have I done? This is all. Maybe it sounds weird, but a couple of years of that, just being by myself in the forest, which is dark and silent and a bit intimidating for your soul to just sit there, not reaching out. Just told my family that I am in a deep fucking hole and I need to figure out. And then using music, my writings. I keep writing books and manuscripts and shit that I hopefully will get out there soon. that combined with starting to playing the old albums again, falling in love with the music again, started going through like having a whole day to go through all the battery stuff up until the albums I don't like. And doing that with
Where do they
everybody.
fall off for you?
I can be very happy with we end with Twilight of the Gods and I'm fucking out of there. I can respect the rest too, but it doesn't take me to that place where I go, "Ah,"
Yeah.
and it lives in me. Same with King Diamond. I could do with the Eye. After the Eye, it's
There, I'm 100%
you
with
can
you.
hear that he moved from fucking Denmark to Texas, and the sound changed, the feeling changed, everything kind of changed. It's not bad, but it isn't my King Diamond.
Well, it verges on bad. I mean,
Yeah.
Voodoo in particular.
Oh yeah, no, that's bad. But
They did,
Spider's Lullaby is like half
yeah,
of it
it's
is
all right.
okay. Next one, 75%
They did,
is bad. It kind of goes down to the point where Graveyard and Voodoo for me is just fucking irritating.
It's unlistenable.
Yeah.
I mean, they did Voodoo and they did this new Spider Lily single and stuff like that when I saw them play 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
It's interesting how much more energy there was when they played Halloween versus when they played any of the new stuff. And you kind of look at it and you go, you know, you also left off the set. I mean, I know it was King Diamond, but I saw King Diamond in 2018 and they did Melissa and they did Come to the Sabbath. I'm like, sorry, but you shouldn't be on stage not singing those songs.
No,
Sing
definitely.
it.
Yeah, fucking do it.
Yeah,
But I respect him a lot, you know,
Yeah.
for the things. But
Yeah.
so I do that. I went through a lot of bands, finding myself again. Yeah, sure.
out of curiosity, what other music was inspiring to you during that time?
Actually, Ministry, the old Ministry,
And of course, Wasp, Animal, that you listen to every single day.
every single day, naked in front of.
When you wake up in the morning, first
Yeah.
thing, up, fuck like a beast.
Butt naked, looking at myself in the mirror in the bathroom every morning. And then I do, of course, I Want to Be Somebody right after that, you know, with the head rolling and standing on their toe tips.
Favorite Wasp songs for me, and they I will confess they do give me a bit of a kick, a bit of a pickup. Mantronic,
That's a really
fucking
good
absolutely love it. The Manimal, really love that. What's the name? The Headless Children. Such a fucking tune.
Oh, it is. For me, it's like because I was sitting there in front of the TV
Yeah.
when those fucking videos came on for the first time. But Cries in the Night from,
Yeah.
and of course, there is a thing with Wild Child, even though it's overplayed to death.
Yeah.
But I was sitting there kind of like pretending to do homework while my mom was sleeping on the couch after dinner, and suddenly, you know, the dude or the woman at Skytrax TV goes, "There's this new video from Wasp, and we're gonna play it now."
Yeah.
And suddenly he's like on his fucking bike going through the desert there, and like I was so fucking sold. Like even now, my goosebumps start fucking popping up. So that shit just grabs me. And then buying each little thing, you know, all the albums being there when they kind of came out, so it's so magical. So if you put on an album, I will probably say this is my favorite album.
Yeah,
Put
yeah.
on the next one and go, oh fuck, this is my favorite album.
Yeah.
And it's like, or even like the Still Not Black Enough, I just love. After that, it starts kind of
Gets
fizzing out a bit,
but dicey.
Yeah, but like Headless Children is a magical fucking metal album
Brilliant album.
with such its own sound and feel, and the way he just takes that into The Idol,
Yeah.
which The Idol is like. It took a lot of people a lot of time to like The Idol and understand The Idol, but most grown-ass metal people now can put that on and go like, oh yeah, it's just talking straight to you.
I understand the story. Yeah. I was when we were watching King Diamond, I leaned over to Cheyenne and I was saying when they played Halloween, I was like, there was something going on between 1984 and like 1987, 88, where so many of the best riffs
magical.
were just like very, very simple, like, you know, 3-4 notes, but so much fucking testosterone.
Yeah.
They just worked so well. Because even like King Diamond has never been a testosterone.
No, it's not balls to the wall
bang,
kind
you
of thing.
know.
Or maybe that's why he
But
does
that song in particular, just that riff like da 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 da. It's like it just works so well.
It does, and you can see it in all the bands from that era. How I think that little time slot there is when everyone realized how cool it was,
Yeah.
how good it felt,
Yeah.
and then they kind of like exploded a bit into it.
Yeah.
And then you see what happened 5 years later, and shit starts kind of like changing, and everyone's going like just like with black metal, you know. There's
when
3-4 years
men
or something.
became weak.
Yeah, when men became women.
Yeah. Let me ask you, as we kind of round the bend on this. I know you said with Nocturnal Breed you put that on hold, but obviously we've spoken about Hammer, which I thought was fucking phenomenal. Did working on that did that kind of light the spark again a little bit for you with music?
That's actually a good point that I haven't been thinking that much of, but I think you're right on that, yeah. Because that's the first time I did any form of recording that was my own, like dicking around at home.
Yeah.
In 5 years, almost. No, I did it, no, in 3 years, because I did Nocturnal Breed album. I actually forgot the last Nocturnal Breed album now. But yeah, but that Nocturnal Breed recording didn't feel good, because I did everything basically at home, apart from some guitars and drums. So yeah, doing that stuff with Roger, or Knockelman, got my interest for black metal back again, in a way. Like, I wanted to record black metal again and get the feeling in place again. And he's doing that with the way he makes Summer, the riffs and everything.
Yeah.
Very battery inspired and all that. But I think that's the right thing for me. Battery is like created this fucking shit. So, look at the masters and be inspired. And that's what happened with Summer, and that's what kind of drove me on, I think, with the Gehenna stuff is too. Because I am looking forward, if we can get Gehenna going, and if we can make some music or something in the future like that. Of course, I'm really hoping for that. Creating that atmosphere. I do all my private projects, like the Svartalv projects and other things too, and Summer and stuff. There is something special about creating an atmosphere with these guys. And the way they play, it's got to do with that too. We all play in a special way.
And it was very, very important, even though it was, in relative terms, it was a short part of your life. It's a very important part of your life.
Yeah, and it colored so much of my life.
Yeah.
It really does. And I noticed now going around Bergen, meeting people and hearing what you say about things, seeing the mails and the messages I get and stuff, is like, of course I want to tap into that and have that, but I want to have it in a proper way without arguments or too much business hassle, and I need to live a little bit of it. I can't go bankrupt every time we're going to go fucking do a gig.
Yeah.
So there's all these things, but we're working on getting aboard. In the old days, we didn't have any around us to do anything for us. Now we realize that, okay, we need to have a proper machine going, the proper thing. So we just have to see. I just really hope it will be there one day.
Well, mate, there's in doing this is for the time that I've done it, which is now, we're coming on to probably around about the time that we're recording this. The podcast is 7 years old, which is crazy to think.
Oh, it is.
I've met an awful lot of people where there's a bit of a sobering. There's a sobering up of expectations versus reality, and I've seen a lot of fakeness, behind the scenes. Guys that people would, deem to be these total badasses, and you look at them and you go, you're just not the kind of man that I respect as a man. But then you meet the real deal guys. Well, let's start with Runa Eriksson, real deal. Gall, real deal. Like,
absolutely,
100%. What you thought of that guy when you meet him in person, that's exactly the way he is. Yep. Not only are you the real deal, I'm so proud and so pleased to call you a friend. And no matter what happens tonight, mate, like I said to you, the outcome is going to be fantastic either way. So congratulations for making it this far. I can't wait to see you play tonight.
Thank you so much, mate. Love you, brother.
Love you too. And then we'll close it off with like a heart. How are you feeling?
Feeling better and better. This is kind of part of the thing, to get into it.
Yeah. Are you changing anything about your are you changing anything about the pattern and things like that you used to use?
No, I really didn't have like one specific pattern. It always ends up something like that, but I don't have. You see, some of it is a little bit King Diamond inspired because
you have to have some King. You have to have some of the King in there.
Like a touch of King in there, and it kind of goes by itself.
Yeah.
In a way, it's kind of weird. It feels like putting on Possession. I can feel my what can you call it? The Svartalv in me kind of comes out. I don't get mean, but I get a bit more mischievous. I want to burn shit.
Well, now here's a question. Given the the ride you've been on in the last week, the last couple of months. How are you feeling now? You know, we're 20 minutes away.
Now it's fucking worth it.
Yeah.
Like really worth it, because it's kind of taking hold, and it feels good. And this is the part that I really like and I want, because you know this is the whole reason why we're rehearsing and playing and everything, to go out now and
Yeah.
kind of put it out like.
All the twists and the turns and the crossroads and everything is all worth it now.
Yeah, it all, and it's for all of us. We can't just put it aside. It's like, fuck, let's do it. You know, it's us against the world kind of thing.
Yeah. And like we said earlier today, it's going to be like you're just exhaling when you get up on stage. And I think a lot of the stuff will just come naturally again.
I feel just like the makeup, the feeling, the atmosphere, everything is like this can just as well have been like for 30 years ago. Just like original root feeling is kind of there still. To everyone who's watching, stop doing the downwards puppy eyes.
Stop looking sad.
Stop looking sad.
Stop focusing on sadness and focus on.
We all have this thing, you know, when you do like this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna show a little like makeup trick.
Okay.
Yeah. So welcome to the makeup channel. No, I'm just gonna get my forehead.
I mean, step one: don't use the L'Oreal corpse paint kit for girls.
Yes.
So that's step one.
These things that are this is for proper like actors and stuff.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of go order it. Oh, shit has happened. And everyone's face has those lines. And if you make an angry face, your face will kind of, in a way, tell you where to put this stuff on.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to do my forehead, and you can see the thing I'm going to do like in the middle of my face that kind of enhances the whole thing.
Well, that's another thing I'm excited about. This is the first time I'll ever see you on stage, because I've never seen you with Nocturnal Breed.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And this is very different. And I have to not focus, but I have to put that Nocturnal Breed thing away. Not going out there now to, you know, roll my head Black Heel Always style or any of that stuff.
No waving the crotch around in the air.
So there is two different people. That Destroyer dude and the Svartalv dude is two completely different people.
Yeah.
And I'm more at friends with the Svartalv dude nowadays, because the Destroyer dude just kind of, I don't know, it fucked up my life a bit.
An animal.
Yeah. This just feels very right doing this now.
Yeah. Who else have you got here in the audience with you today? Obviously you got Victoria. That's going to be that's important. Anyone else?
From like family and stuff. No, but
friends,
there's a lot of friends from all kinds of different bands. The Nocturnal Breed guys are here.
Yeah.
Guys from Eric, like the old drummer from Gorgoroth, and Immortal and Eternus is here. People just basically sending me little, hey, we're here, basically for Gehenna. People travel like the whole country just to come and see this one.
We kind of touched on it earlier, but the general reception from the old guard, from the scene, you suggested has been really positive.
It's super positive. We're hearing from all kinds of people. Yeah, like I mentioned, like Frost and stuff, like kind of getting into it and explaining like how much those albums meant.
Yeah.
And of course that feels good, you know, to have people who really understand it, and old friends, you know, it's proper old friends. And they wouldn't say they like stuff just for the fun of it. So, yes. Yeah.
We are ready.
I think that's.
You ready?
Yeah, and the teeth always go so fucking yellow. Britain 1970.
First trenches, First World War. So before you do it's like before if you do any sort of athletic event, before you do a fight, it's like that build up and that anticipation. You start feeling it in your stomach. It's a fucking amazing feeling.
I think that's so important. At least when you're going to do like this kind of stuff, which is a bit more than just rocking it out,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
So a very different experience for you than if you're on stage with anything else that you would do.
Oh yeah,
Nocturnal Breed,
completely. This is it's more real in a strange sense, not the true black metal real, but it's just like it's just very different, and I love that feeling. It takes me just back to that occult thing, Most people, I think, have a little alter ego inside, but we're in a way allowed to let it out. I can go on that stage and just be mad as fucking hate and yeah, and all the mystic stuff and everything. It's a ritual, like it's a full-on ritual. And even though we're a bunch of 50-year-olds, it's cool anyway.
Yeah. We followed you guys as you left to go out, and we kind of stuck with you for as long as the security would allow us to do, and then we swung round, caught you guys, probably about a minute into the first song. First question I want to ask you, what was going through your mind as you were, because I was watching you very carefully, waiting for that curtain to go up. Describe what's going through your mind as you're waiting for that moment, as you're waiting for the curtain to go up, and for you to play the first show that you've played with Gehenna in, nearly 3 decades now?
Oh, yeah, actually more, 31 years.
Oh, wow, yeah. Yeah, so even more.
Yeah. No, I don't know what's going on in my head right then, like those minutes when like the intro is on and we're just waiting. For some reason, I start walking in circles and prancing around the stage. I get this energy thing that happens inside me, and there is no one concrete thought. There is just like a million thoughts and feelings, and I don't know, a feeling of fuck you, you want to intimidate me, so I'm gonna fucking show you. That kind of, the rebel punk kind of comes out of me, and I was like, I'm gonna fucking show you bastards. This is what I know how to do. So, and there's not that much stuff I'm like good at doing, but I think I'm pretty good at doing this. And I just like, you polish your ego a little bit and get yourself going, and just, I don't know, fire in the mind. So that's what's going on.
When that curtain lifted and you saw the number of people that were in the audience, were you surprised? Because just before you answer, I can tell you now, I don't know how it looked to you from the stage, but the place was rammed. I had seen King Diamond 2 nights before, and it was about as full as it could possibly be. I wasn't there for Opeth, although, I would hope Opeth was maybe half empty, but be that as it may. But, for you guys, I would say it was as full as it was for King Diamond, easily. It was, they don't oversell the place, so you can still move around. But, it really, really was packed. And I think the interesting thing for me, we'll talk about the show as it progressed, but it didn't empty out either. Most bands that played over the weekend, including some of the headliners, they didn't have the same size audience remaining when they were finished versus when they started. And I don't think that I saw a single person walk out when you guys were playing.
I didn't reflect on that on stage. When the curtain goes up, I don't know. It's weird to say something. Another persona kind of thing takes on. So I don't look at the crowd in like, oh, that was many people. It's just like, okay, here I am. There you are. I can see that there's a lot of people, but I don't really reflect on that kind of thing. But of course, from that big stage like that, you can only see like the people on the floor. I had no idea. I couldn't really see people like on all the seats, and since like the whole venue kind of curves up the way it does, but I just don't reflect on the people. It's much worse if it's 50 people than 5,000, to say it like that. And during the show, yeah, I noticed that people stuck around. I saw like from my 50 meters that I could see from stage. Those faces were basically the same faces through the whole concert, and they were there. Gehenna is not a band where, you know, people stage dive and fucking crowd surf to, you know.
Yeah, there weren't any circle pits when you were playing.
No, there's none of that exodus. Oh, we're gonna split everybody and you're gonna ram into each other kind of. Nope. It's just pretty. People were studying us and enjoying it, looking at us. You can see in people's faces if they enjoyed it or not. People enjoyed it. A lot of people, a lot of older. There was like an older crowd too, and I can see that people enjoyed kind of studying the band. You know, no one's seen it before like this, so yeah, it was just a great atmosphere through the whole thing. It went really fast. For me, it felt like 10 minutes and we were off again.
Mm.
So it's like, it's the reflections now in the week after, like that singing things have kind of fell into place. But at the moment, it just said swoosh and it was over kind of thing.
You know what I hadn't realized until I saw you guys play? I didn't realize how much you share vocal duties between the three of you. And I've got to tell you, your black metal vocals, the parts that you did sounded fucking sick, like really, really cool. And then, you know, obviously, you know, Sonrob sounded fantastic as well. Dolgar sounded really, really cool. I especially loved the touches where you guys would like on Touched and Left for Dead. You were doing vocals together for one part of the song, and I mean, you know from following the podcast how big of a fan I am of multi vocalists on stage. There's just something I think is completely badass about that. I thought that was almost like a perfect way to start the show, like all three of you guys doing vocals together on Touched and Left for Dead. It was. There was something old school about it. Like I think of, for some bizarre reason, I kept thinking of MC5 while I was watching it. And you know, when you see like,
wow.
well, you remember when you see Kick Out the Jams when they do that live, and you know the band are all like vocaling together. There was something about that I was thinking about. There's something really old school about this, but I just loved it. It was just in the best way possible to set the tone for what was to come.
It is. Some bands do it, and you know, we are inspired by them too. We are totally inspired by, you know, Kiss and Wasp and stuff when it comes to that, because it's, even with Wasp, there is exceptional backing vocals done by Randy Piper and Chris Holmes and stuff like that. Back on the days when they played live, because of course in studio there's layers and layers, and the Gehenna, of course, there's layers on layers. But from the start, it was like Dolgar and Sunrub doing this back and forth thing. And then I added my little things. And when we came to putting it together now, we realized that, of course, there's 3 tracks and 4 tracks of vocals and all kinds of stuff. So I'm basically stepping in where either it's impossible for one of the other guys to do it because they're doing solos or leads or something else, or where it's basically 3 tracks or more, you know, where you need to fill out that extra part. And I guess it worked. I couldn't hear my vocal on stage, so I had to just go for it. I haven't been singing since we did the last Nocturnal Breed album, and then my voice box was completely crushed. But doing like 2 weeks now with the rehearsals and stuff, just my voice is obviously back on track again. So I can start thinking about, you know, putting down black metal vocals again. So I didn't think I would ever do that again.
It sounded sick, and again, you know, you have a very versatile voice. I was thinking about it while I was watching the show. It's like, you know, things he's done on Nocturnal Breed, you know, what he's doing here. Like, fucking hell, this is a bad motherfucker. He can do a lot of shit. You were also, just in terms of stage presence and stage performance, I could just see the gear shift, and you were just, I mean, you were off and running from the get go. I don't know whether you saw how many comments there were about how much people enjoyed your stage presence and your stage performance. And I just think it was, you know, again, drawing parallels to old school bands. It was like, you you used to have very, you know, like let's take, and perhaps you're going to want me to edit this out, but let's take Duff McKagan, Guns N' Roses, Paradise Lost, 1992. He had a specific person, like Duff had his own personality, had his own thing, his own aura on stage. Slash had his own thing, his own aura on stage. Axl had his own thing, his own aura on stage. I felt like you guys had that as well, and that was something I really liked and I really enjoyed about the performance.
I really thank you, because that's one of the things that we talked about even since we were teenagers, sitting in Sunrod's basement, hatching out this whole band in a way. That was one of the things, to be our own personalities. That's why we don't dress in or do like some of those other bands that has been coming back. They go to a tailor and they get one tailor to make them the same kind of equipment for the whole band, and we're not doing that. It's like, what you want to wear, that's up to you. Create your own personality, and we kind of dove into that really hard. And it's cool that I heard from other people too that pick up on that thing. So I don't know, it's almost working out from that perspective of like almost like the Kiss solo albums. You do your thing within the frameworks of this other thing.
Mm.
And thank you for you and other people. I've noticed some comments and stuff. Yes, people have sent me after the show, and I'm glad people enjoy my persona. I have to switch between. That's the only thing I kind of do before I go on stage, is that I have to turn off that destroyer dude from Nocturnal Breed and have to become this other persona. And I'm glad it worked. I only had like half a glass of wine, so I wasn't like on anything at all. But I felt so fucking energized and possessed, like truly fucking possessed. But at the same time, kind of observing it all in bird's-eye perspective. That's seldom when you do concerts, that you can kind of. I can almost stop and rewind in my head while I'm there playing and look at people's faces, and it's like this strange mix of things. So I guess you could see it. I enjoyed myself on stage for the first time in many, many, many years.
That was very obvious. That really came across. I mean, for the entirety of the set, and I think it's true of everybody else on stage as well. Were there any highlights in terms of songs that you guys performed? A song or two songs that you particularly enjoyed performing?
Yeah, believe it or not, none of us thought we actually even going to play this song, Raven Wings, and Angel Claws, because I don't know. There's some feelings around that song, but when we actually did it, I really enjoyed playing it, and it's almost like this punk heavy metal drive that's underneath all the black metal and the feeling stuff, and it just felt really, really good. And of course, just starting a song like Shivering Voice, of course, just feeling the energy from the audience when those keyboards started and stuff. Like I said, it went up so fucking fast. So it's almost like just one long song, 10, 15 minutes long, and oops, we were over kind of thing. But yeah, I think that's the highlights. But every song, it's so hard, man, because it's old songs, more than 30 years old. So every song has like this long history and feeling to it inside my soul in a way. And that I play through that every time I play the song. So it's this little journeys and different feelings. And yeah, it was nice kind of being able to observe it as a grown-up person, not just falling through it like we did back in the days.
What were some of those? What were some of those feelings that you were referring to about Angel Wings and Raven Claws? Because you make an interesting point there about how it fit into the set. But I think with a band like Gehenna, and this is true to me of most bands, we've spoken about this before, how you construct a set to me is very important. I don't want a band to just go on stage, and even if their very best song is, warp 10 speed from start to finish, I don't then want to hear 10 other songs straight after that that's also warp 10. All bands' best song is a slow song, so every single other thing they do is in the same vein. I love the peaks and valleys and the highs and lows of a set. Again, it comes back to that old school mentality. When if you go back and you listen to Wasp live in the Raw, I mean, I know there was some trickery involved there, but I mean, it's a very well paced live set. You got Sleeping in the Fire is, it's placed in the exact right spot. Manimal is placed in the exact right spot. It has highs, lows. Yeah. There's things in the over the course of that set that even if you don't know the band, you can latch onto, and that pull you in. And I thought that Angel Wings and Raven Claws was that song for me in the set for sure.
It's one of those breakers. You need something to kind of break up and change direction and go like 180 somewhere else. Do those little twists and turns, and with all the atmosphere and feeling stuff that we do with Gehenna, it's nice to have one of those that just kind of hammers through. Um, Same thing like we ended with the Midwinter Forest, which I was actually a bit against in the start, but as we got to starting playing it, I realized like it's a fun song to play, and it's one of those more rebellious kind of faster songs, because none of those old Gehenna stuff is truly fast. But no, I don't know. It's important to build that kind of structure. I don't know how much we put into thinking about that, but it came naturally to put the songs like that. And as we rehearse, it's been placed a bit here and a bit there, back and forth. So it's just a general feeling. It's important for us too not to bore ourselves to death when you're playing this stuff. So I don't. I have this problem sometimes with Nocturnal Breed because some of those songs are, or a lot of those songs are fucking fast. And it's important not to have the same kind of thrash song with the same kind of typical drums and stuff after each other. Have to break it up with something that goes very different to make it a bit interesting. I'm sure like other thrash bands have to kind of think a bit about that too. So it just like it's always said, like 10 songs with the same fucking beat and the same fucking stuff. That's just boring. You need to have the highs and the lows, like you said. Like even like if you go to Iron Maiden, like Live After Death, which is such a long double album, live album, it's like a theater thing. That's what hooked me on when I was little to those kind of live albums and like Live in the Raw and stuff like that too, because it's a little journey and it's different from the actual album because that's its own little journey with its own songs put together, but suddenly you can hear like all these different songs from different albums. So you can make people feel and go in different directions. And maybe that's why people stayed, because it was at least some variation to it. And it wasn't just like blasted the fuck into your head continuously for 1 hour. And I must say, like to Hugo, who did sound as well, he did a great thing with the sound, which was like focusing on a 90s metal sound and not going for all the fucking boosters and blasters and shit you can put on music now that just makes it. Everyone been to those concerts where it's basically bass and kick drum and they're just raping your head for a fucking hour. We didn't want one of those. We wanted like a proper metal sound where you can hear all the different nuances and stuff that was going on as good as possible, at least.
And shout out to him because I think he did a fantastic job. Just on the topic of that, pacing. You mentioned Exodus earlier. I saw Exodus about 6 years ago, and I'm sure this was the case in the late 80s. It was probably the case at the height of grunge when they were playing to 50 people. But the song that got people going absolutely out of their fucking minds wasn't Strike of the Beast or Bonded by Blood. It was Toxic Waltz. So just that gear shift, when people get to when they get to that scumbag beat, as Mike Hill calls it, they can't get enough. And you just 1,000%, you must have that on a set.
Oh yeah. I saw that in Oslo firsthand. I saw Exodus in holy fuck, that was 98, 99 maybe 2000. I'm not sure, but it was like for Nocturnal Breed, it was hard to pull people, and for Exodus too, there was no one fucking interested in thrash metal in the year 2000. So I saw them at this tiny little club in Oslo. It was packed, but it wasn't more than 150 people. But when they came to those fucking old songs like Toxic Waltz and stuff, it was just it might as well just been a club back in LA in 1984 or something, because the place just went fucking nuts. Anyhow, just even though it was basically like, okay, we're this tiny little group of people now. We're 150 people strong. We're gonna keep this shit alive, and
we need to make up for the absentees and get the energy going.
Yeah, and Exodus, like they had to sleep at a friend of mine's house and stuff like that, outside Oslo, before they took like a bus to Sweden the day after. It was like, it must suck so fucking ass to go from like the 80s stuff and then suddenly you play to 150 people. And
that is actually something that I don't think a lot of people realize with some of these older bands. I mean, even I'm probably guilty of this to a degree. Sometimes on the news rant, you'll look at it and you'll cynically go, "Oh, well, this person's doing a money grab, blah blah blah." But you think to yourself, those guys are in their early 60s. They don't have many years ahead of them, and on top of that, yes, they might have been doing well for the last decade or so, but there was a period of time during grunge and during new metal when nobody watched them play. They were probably
It was
barely
horrible,
scraping
man.
by, if not touring at a slight loss. So if you think about the average person working, if you've got 10 years where your income is 10% of what it used to be, you don't have all
You're
that much put
fucked
away in the
also.
bank. Yeah.
And that shit lasted for it in some senses somewhere. It's still lasting, but that shit didn't just last for the 90s. That shit lasted like for a lot of bands all through the 2000s,
Mm.
2010s, 2000. Like for a band like Nocturnal Breed, it really wasn't easy to do thrash, heavy metal fucking stuff for 20 years, basically. It was so fucking hard to get anything moving. And then you turn around to look at your heroes and you see fucking Judas Priest and Iron Maiden playing at, the Rockefeller in Oslo size clubs, which is just like, it's nothing wrong about doing that. But for Iron Maiden to play for 2,500
Mm.
people in Oslo, that's fucked up. When those X Factor fucking things happened. And after Rob quit Judas Priest, they played for like, I think it was 3,000 in Oslo or less than that. You see all the bands just crumble to nothing. We played
Mm.
with actually Nocturnal Breed and Testament. We played together in 2004, I think, at Rockefeller in Oslo. And they had they closed down the two top kind of layers where audience can stand. That was just closed down because there was not enough people, and barely half the fucking audience on the lower stage was kind of like filled up. So it was, for us, it was just a normal kind of thing where, because we knew people weren't that into fucking thrash anymore. But for Testament, they looked fucking pissy, just coming there and it's just this lukewarm fucking 450 people kind of thing. It looked just barren and
Yeah.
hopeless, and it did for many. And it must have crushed so. And you can see, there's a bunch of people who died through those eras too. It wasn't like easy to get a job or anything. If you go off after 20, 25 years of doing fucking a metal band, traveling the world, and suddenly you're gonna go to the Walmarts and work there. Fucking hell, look at that fucking Anvil documentary, people. Fucking
Yeah.
learn.
Well, there was an interesting thing I read once where a guy was saying, if you go out on tour, I think I might have spoken to Selenos about this as well. You go out on tour and you're playing for 10, 15,000 people. Sometimes 5,000 people a night, but every night you've got that energy from the audience coming back at you. Then you get home, and all of a sudden you have to manage the wind down to back to normal life. Now, imagine if you had 25 years of, that constant, validation, dopamine, the energy from the crowd, people thinking of the fucking bee's knees, and then all of a sudden, as you say, you now have to, because you are not qualified to do anything else because you devoted your whole life to heavy metal. You now have to do some menial bullshit job and get treated like an asshole for your whole. I mean, there's very few people in that situation that wouldn't turn to the booze, the needle, whatever it takes to get them through that.
Well, yeah, it's for sure. And I lived the way, in a sense, I lived like that for, oh, fuck, for 25 years almost. Like, you have to juggle between like this weird ass musician kind of life and the normal shit you have to do just to fucking get by. And since I was a lone dad for many years, I had to kind of turn that thing off like a clock, back and forth, back and forth. And it fucking humbles you to fuck them, to do that. And then to try to, this is gonna sound pissy, but I don't really mean to sound pissy about it because I'm not really, but it's just the way the world was to do that and to try to run a thrash band, which no one in the planet is really interested in thrash band during those 2000 years. Yeah, that was just fucking soul destroying at times, to have to do that and you have to do all these fucking shit jobs and stuff that I'm not just, I can do a lot of stuff. I can work very hard and do things, but you know, I rather do that with music and my creative sides, you know. And taking care of my daughter was great, you know, but having to turn off and go to, I played concerts, done a full evening, get home 4 in the morning. I get up at 9 to go at school meetings, you know, and you have to shave and get the makeup off and have to do a school meeting. Shit like that, or bake a fucking cake because it's Christmas and some other kind of thing on school. Those things, yeah. Combine that with like just before I was on a stage with, you know, some thousand people going, "Fuck yeah!" It's really weird. It's really really weird. And yes, you turn to booze and drinking and all kinds of self-destructive shit. I don't know why people have done it for hundreds of years who are creative, you know, and has to be pulled back and forth between that harsh reality of that you actually need to fucking have money and you need to have a family or someone close to you to make it by. You know, you can't just be like a hermit the fuck out of everything and think that's gonna end up well. It won't, you know. You need people and systems. And no, it's a harsh fucking combination to do that fucking stuff.
What eventually got you leveled? Like I was going to use the phrase leveled out, but got you to the healthy place that you're in right now? Because I've known you for 4 years now. I've seen a quite significant evolution in you as a person generally in those 4 years, and I know you've gone through personal turmoil and challenges as well, but you're in a place now where you seem to be very much at peace with everything that's going on around you. You know, with the outcome of whatever happens with Gehenna, with the outcome of whatever you do in any other creative endeavor, and just with life generally, you seem to be somebody who is quite, forgive me for using the phrase, zen about what's going on around him.
I don't know. I'm not quite sure myself. It's just a lot of fucking self-reflection and thinking. And the first thing you have to do if you're going to get out of shit place and your own shit fucking thing, because that's normally why you are in a shit place, you need to be fucking honest with yourself and say, okay, I'm fucking up here, I'm fucking up there. I should fix this, do that. You have to do that thing with you. If you don't do that thing, you're just going to end up kicking yourself in the ass again, you know. So I don't know, almost 50 years of just falling up and down stairs to the point where I'm so fucking tired of myself. A couple of years back, you can hear it if you listen to that last Nocturnal Breed album. It's just fucking full of self-hatred and world hatred and everything hatred. I'm just so fucking tired of things. So you need to hit rock bottom, and I bounced a bit up, and I spent probably 2 years without touching our woman or doing anything or being in a like a normal relationship or anything, just spending time in my house in the woods 99% of the time for a couple of years. Only basically talk to my family and close friends and my daughter visiting me every now and then, and going, I don't know, being fucking honest with yourself and starting on places, getting fit, starting to work out, starting to try to sleep well, and then trying to figure out why I don't sleep well. And I don't know. It's a self-psychologist kind of thing, because I tested, of course, psychologists and all that shit for many years, and that doesn't work at all. So they just tell people like me that you're a fucking mad schizo, and I'm a bit mad, but yeah, I got very good overlook of myself. So I just needed basically time to sit still and figure out how to do everything. Probably sound like a fucking Zen jerk on YouTube now, but yeah.
No, you don't. I've spoken about this many times before. It's controlling the controllable. It sounds like a very similar path that you took to the path that I took when I got divorced from my daughter's mum. I spent not 2 years, but I spent a fair amount of time, being really pissed off and being really down and despondent and thinking the world is not the world is against me, but just not necessarily being sure of my future in the world. And then you realize you need to put your foot on the petrol and keep going. And the only way to do that is to find something that you can anchor your or build your life around, your activity around. It needs to be something you can directly control. And it sounds like you and I found very similar things. Your daughter, my daughter. And again, you control what you can control. And once you start to truly live that mantra, I find everything else starts to become a lot easier, and you start to attract the right people to you in your life, whether romantically or otherwise. And when you then get into a relationship, you're going into the relationship from a place of strength, in a sense, like a place of leverage, because you don't need somebody in your life to validate you and make you feel happy. You add that person into your life because they genuinely add value. Their presence makes your life better. And in my case, I realized with Paige, her being in my life makes me a better person. There's no question about it. I said this to you when we had lunch. There's a point at which she came into my life where the trajectory of my career just literally started doing this, and it's career, podcast, everything. Her being there made me a better person. But I could not, in a million years, I could not have been in a relationship like that 10 years ago in my life. I needed to go through that process first, where I felt like total shit, where I was ready to give up, and suddenly realized, like, you can choose the path of giving up, or you can put your foot on the petrol.
Yeah, exactly. And you need to come to that realization yourself. Because you can watch fucking videos and listen to podcasts till you're blue in the fucking face, but until you actually fucking, and you don't, sometimes you don't realize it as it's happening, but you realize a bit after that, oh fuck, that was my breaking point. That's when I actually felt like, okay, I'm not fucking dealing with myself in this way fucking anymore. And then you mentally start changing, the ways of thinking things. And I think one of the most important things for me that has come gradually over the last 10 years is truly to not give a fuck about what anyone fucking means and says and thinks, and fucking the whole world is about looking at what everybody else is thinking and feeling and stuff. And you have to get out of that fucking mindset and just don't give a flying fuck. Sometimes you fuck up, and sometimes, as a creative person, sometimes you make something good and sometimes you make something shit. It doesn't really matter, but just people need to fucking stop looking at each other. And when I did that, like, I turned off all the social medias and everything for 2 years. That was fucking beautiful, to just be myself. That's how I got to actually see myself in the mirror, because I didn't have this fucking distraction. I didn't have a working relationship. I didn't have any physical contact with anyone. I got drugs away from my back, apart from, my joints, to keep the demons away from the world. But I got to just be with myself, and I had people helping me out, taking care of like the pages for the bands and stuff that is out in the world, so I could actually focus. So it's a bit thank you to Kjell, my manager, or he's my kind of management dude who's helping me with those things, because he lets me actually just cut the fucking line, the cord, and drift by myself for a couple of years. And when I came out of that, like now with Gehenna, with everything, it's great that people like it. It's great, that people have response and stuff, but I'm not doing it for that. I don't give a flying fuck. If we went off that stage and the whole world booed us out, I couldn't give a fuck. I did it because I like doing it, and I have to kind of stick to that kind of thing, no matter what I do.
And that I think that definitely came across on stage. And as I said to you, there's two options. Either it's done and it's just a beautiful conclusion or closure that you need on a very important part of your life, or it's the start of something new and something exciting. So, segue into another question. You guys come off stage. What was the mood like in the or backstage as you guys had come off? Did the other guys feel like they had performed one of the highlight sets of the weekend?
None of us thinks like that.
Like, this is fucking terrible. 0 out of 10.
No, none of us walks out of there like fucking Barbara Streisand on a high, and we don't walk. We don't either, and we don't walk off there like an emo band either. Like, collectively gonna take suicide in the fucking shower after. We stay a bit neutral for a while. The mood was very good. Everyone was basically happy, most of us. But we've done it so long now that I think everyone is basically like, okay, that was good. And you have to take a couple of days to actually figure out if it was good. So we were just pleased with what we just did, that everyone could see that, okay, we didn't majorly fuck up anything and make an ass out of ourselves. So we're happy for that, and the whole band shared a nice dinner after. Everyone was in a good mood the whole evening. So in that sense, yes, we walked off in a good spirit and a high spirit, and of course that's because of the audience and stuff too. The applauds and sends energy back to the band. You know immediately on the stage if you're not really welcome there or not, and
Mm.
we felt welcome, and it felt like you say, it's a starting line, and it was a barrier to get there and get over there, over that wall of just fucking now we actually did it. It's a thing like, and some of the listeners know too, we worked on this like for a year and a half, 2 years now, at least, actually 2.5 years since we first initially got asked to do this. So it feels nice. It feels like breathing out now after. Almost feel like a bit happy stoned because it's like, oh fuck, oh shit, yeah, we did this. Okay, we can kind of float on this for 5 minutes while I have to reset your head a bit, and I don't know. It just feels nice. I just haven't been thinking that much about it. I just been having this peace inside when it comes to this thing. So I've been dicking around in my garden, doing garden work, cutting the grass that grew while I was rehearsing with Gehenna for weeks and shit like that. Just enjoying life, having some good time with my partner and viewing the world a bit differently, than I did
Mm.
a couple of years ago. So yeah, it's all been pretty good.
One final thing. I was thinking about it as you were talking about Nocturnal Breed. The irony of all the struggle that you had with Nocturnal Breed. I don't want to encourage you to have to kickstart another new band or go back to another one of your projects. But you do know, like based on the temperature right now, Nocturnal Breed is probably, I would say would be very well received in 2025. Better received than it would have been in 2015.
Oh, you're dead on. There's been so many people who mentioned that lately.
Fucking old Jackson's got
Before
his
the
ear to the
game.
ground, mate.
Yeah, you do. It's damn. It's like fucking grapevines pouring out of you, man. No, there's people that wants that. Yes, I know, but it's not a problem like with the guys, and we need to get like an extra guitarist and stuff because we're only 3 people in Nocturnal Breed now. But it's for me, it's different. In Gehenna, I can be Svartalv, as probably some people can see. I'm a bit like a trickster joker character on the side there, doing my bass and vocals and letting basically my madness come out of me without having to end up in jail for it. and with Nocturnal Breed, it's very different, man. Then I'm a front man there. I have to do an hour and a half long set, fucking 15, 20 songs, full on vocals all the time, playing and doing the fucking. If you're gonna be like I've done a thing with Nocturnal Breed. I can't suddenly go up there and shoegaze my way to a fucking set. I have to deliver fucking Destroyer from Nocturnal Breed kind of thing, and that takes so much energy. It takes so much training and working out and energy and remembering lyrics and getting shit organized. So it's rumbling around in my brain. It is, but it's such a huge fucking mountain to climb while I'm still climbing with Gehenna. It's, I don't know, it's this wish I want to deliver if I'm gonna do it, and I want to deliver it really good. And if you're gonna do it with Nocturnal Breed, it's not gonna be a shit little gig in a pub. No offense to all pubs, but I want to do it properly in a proper fucking way, the way I had it in my head earlier when we didn't have budgets for it and people enough around for it and stuff. But of course, if we need stuff like a label, for example, too. And I'm thinking and working on those little things. So we're having like 30 years anniversary in half a year. So I have to think about something. So we just have to see. Maybe
I
just
see
try
a
rehearsal once and
I see a tour. You guys, Destroyer 666. Let's think who else. I'll think of some other names, but something fucking killer, like real, fist in your face kind of shit.
Oh, there's been so many like Nocturnal Breed. I have offers many every month coming in. People who want to do tours here and there, these bands and that bands, and many cool thrash bands. We could have put on like this traveling fucking thrash festival thing, because the thrash is such a kind of unifying thing. And now, after so many years, there's the old bands, and it's the black thrash bands, and there's the new thrash bands, or whatever you can call them, or there's all these things. So of course, there's constellations of that. That would be really cool, and there people would really like to put it together. Like in the old days, it was us, Ara Noir and Inferno. We did fucking a ton of gigs together, the three of us, and Audio Pain, like 4 thrash bands, and we just hammered through cool gigs here and there. And we did
I've got it
tour
now.
with Ara Noir.
Destroyer 666, Disaster, Nocturnal Breed. We call it the Three Heads of the Goat Tour 2027.
Oh, you're getting me going again. This is exactly people. Listen, people. This is the exact shit he was pulling like a year and a half ago, and you saw what happened in Bergen here now.
Well, mate. I think by this point they will have had a fair bit of content from us, and I know we normally run up a pretty lengthy episode. But I just want to say to you, I said it in the Bergen or the Beyond the Gates review. I watched most of that show with a lump in my throat, but it's because I knew how much it meant to you to be on stage. I knew how much it meant to everybody else, but mostly I was just happy to see my friend doing what he does extremely well and being in his element. So, I'm so glad to see you in a good place. And yeah, man, brother. I know we'll talk a lot more, but it's been such a pleasure and such a privilege to be able to witness what was happening with Gehenna from the vantage point that I was able to. And I just want to say thank you very much for making me part of that.
You're so welcome. It's so nice to have you around. And I'm sure for the people watching and listening as well, the way you talk, the way you are, the personality you are, it's such a great thing to be around you. And for me, my partner too, like, thank you for taking us out to this great restaurant, wining and dining us with the finest Bergen had. I really appreciate it.
It was nice food there.
Yeah, it was very nice. And you gave us such a great start to the whole thing. It really helped my day and my partner's day, who was a showrunner for Gehenna that day and had so much fucking dickery and stuff to fix that day. And it just started off really, really nice, and be around with you and Paige. So thank you to both of you. And I'm sure from all the people do, thank you for doing like such a massive fucking cool coverage of like a festival like this. Everything you do and the stuff you do with Cheyenne and Gal and the other people you interviewed and stuff, like, it's really, you give people a really good insight. And look, and you should work for Travel Channel or something, just do a little thing. But you're good at, at least Bergen should pay you a little bit, you give that town a lot of credit, man. So you should get a little advance.
I'd say they're not going to want this profanity on a travel channel.
Oh, you would do so great. You love your foods and the places, and you know what hotels are good and not. And, you should do that. Get your own travel channel, man.
Well, I'll tell you what. The irony of it is that I am definitely going to record. So the plan is for Paige and I to go and stay at De La Graaf. So that's the vineyard where the wine came from that I gave Carl. I'll do some recording there. I was going to show them, hey, check this out. I gave your wine to this black metal guy, and he really loved it. But he ran that plan off the road. I was hoping for some freebies.
No, actually, well, you should have talked to me instead, because as you know, we enjoyed that wine with a bunch of cheese, and it was beautiful, man.
Yeah, no, that was. So I actually had a bottle of that same wine last night. So nice. Like it needs to. You need to let it breathe for a couple of hours before you have it. But I found, like, after like 5-6 hours of letting the bottle stand, decanting it properly, oh my god, it's fucking delicious. We did that vineyard as well.
Super good.
One day,
there we go. There's their wine travel show,
Well, no, I tell you what. One day you need to you and your partner need to join us in South Africa. We'll hit a couple of vineyards, do some wine tasting, do some cultured stuff.
Oh, we will. But you know, my partner is Polish, so you people have to carry me out because I'm gonna be the first man laying straight fucking out because I can't do the gargling and shit. I'm gonna drink here and there. And
They
I'm
don't
gonna be
expect that in
drunk
South Africa.
Viking.
It's so South African wine tasting is I always laugh at it because so one, they will give you full size glasses and there is no bucket
Oh
for you to
fuck.
spit it into. The expectation is you're drinking it. So and then normally when they see you really enjoying yourself, they're like, oh, you know what, you should try this one, or you know what, I've brought something really special out for you, try this. And then full glass again. So,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
and you have to take me out. First, we have to go and eat some proper fucking heavy food first, so I have
Oh
something
yeah,
to
yeah.
put that wine in.
Oh,
If you do that with me,
that
like 10 in the morning, you're gonna have to carry me by 12 o'clock. You have to carry me into the fucking car and drive me home like a fucking drunk aunt.
well, let's hold a good thought. We may do that at some point. I'll toss you onto we'll rent a pickup. I'll just toss you onto the back, strap you down, and like, right, we're off to the next one. All right, brother. Thank you so much.
That was great, man. Super duper.
A Witch is Born by Gehenna from their classic album Seen Through the Veils of Darkness, The Second Spell, that was recently re-released by Darkness Shall Rise Productions. If for whatever reason you've ever slept on any of the Gehenna releases, it's time for you to wake the fuck up. Head over to the Gehenna Bandcamp. That will be in the description to the podcast as always. Buy yourself some music. Let the band know who sent you. Svartalv will definitely be back on the show at some point down the road, and hopefully we can get a couple of other Gehenna members on here as well. But I just want to say once again, this was one that was extremely personal and extremely special to me. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did recording it. It was amazing seeing Gehenna on stage, and particularly seeing Svartalv with a band doing what I know he loves to do. If I were a promoter stood in that audience, I can tell you right now, they would have had a contract to play my festival before the halfway mark of that set. I know that they've got one more remaining date coming up later this year in Germany, I believe. But I'd be very surprised if you don't catch them, or if you're not able to see them on a couple of festival lineups in 2026. So massive thank you to Svartalv. Hope you all enjoyed that. If that ambient noise bothered you a bit, well, there's not much I can do about it. Right now, my friends, before I welcome Marco from Stellar Master Elite to join me for the Weekly News Rant, I've got a little public service announcement. If you are the kind of sniveling weasel that goes onto social media or on Reddit and complains that all finished black metal is an instant red flag, then you shouldn't be part of any black metal scene that I identify with. You most definitely aren't allowed to listen to this podcast anymore, and you need to hit the bricks, because this is my Weekly News Rant.
Round them up for judgment. And hang them where the world can see.
You again, my man. How's everything been going? More important, when the fuck are we getting a new Stellar Master Elite album?
I mean, first of all, it's pretty early, and I'm really sorry. I was fixing my router here because I didn't have any internet. So, forgive me for that half an hour delay.
Don't worry about that, man.
And
the German government switching your internet off because they've heard of the subversive things that you are saying online, and also some of the subversive characters that you're speaking to. Some even potentially from South Africa.
Yeah, exactly. But in the Stellar Master Elite camp, it's going on. But as I told you before, we are the slowest of the slow. So it will take a while until we have something to show the rest of the world. But as I said, like we have the circumstances are there. We have our own studio, and it will sound really nice, and we have everything there. We just need the material and finally record that shit.
So how many songs have you got now?
I wouldn't say it's songs, but we've got parts of songs, I would say. No, like whole songs yet, but parts of it. So we just have to kind of stitch it together. Let's see.
Okay, all right. Well, I expect it to be out in Q2 of 2026, mate. Or we're gonna have words.
I try my best.
I've decided I'm gonna take over the business dealings for Stellar Master Elite. The business and the management side, I think I need to commandeer. ETA is Q2 2026 or
it's as long as we don't have to pay you, everything's all right,
You don't need to worry about money, mate. I'll be taking whatever money you make. Okay. We cannot, unfortunately, avoid starting this news rant off on a very sad note. Brent Hines from Mastodon passed away on, I think it was Wednesday night. He's 51 years old, much too young for a man to die. He died as a result of a negligent driver who failed to yield while making a turn at the intersection of Memorial Drive and Boulevard in Atlanta. It happened around 11:35 p.m. I started seeing some of the posts come through. I think it was Burnt by the Sun on social media who first posted something that just said, "Rest in peace, Brent." And I thought, fuck it, that can't be Brent Hines. And then the news started coming out. So it's just really fucking shit news. I've been a Mastodon fan since Life's Blood. I've said on the podcast before, I've told the story about being in the underworld when they were touring Remission back in 2002, seeing them play to a half-full venue. The underworld is a tiny venue anyway, but seeing them play to a half-full venue, tapping my friend on the shoulder and saying, this band's going to be fucking huge. And lo and behold, I was right. And for me, Brent was always one of the absolute pivotal parts of that machine. He was an incredible vocalist, an incredible guitarist. He was responsible for some of my favorite Mastodon songs, including the title track of the album The Hunter, which ironically was a tribute that he paid to his brother, who passed away as well. It is incredibly sad news.
Yeah, I've seen it as well. I wouldn't say I wasn't much of a Mastodon fan, but of course Brent was well known in the scene, and it's always like really hard when somebody dies in a really shitty way like that. You know, it could have happened to all of us.
Yeah.
First when I read that Brent dies, I thought it was would have been linked to his Mastodon drama that he had going on earlier. And I first thought like, oh yeah, drugs, alcohol, suicide or whatnot. And then I read that it actually was an accident. And I felt like, nah.
It was the same
just unlucky, you know.
Yeah, same with me. When I first saw when it really started to hit home that okay, it's happened, and the details hadn't come out yet, I thought the same thing. I thought, oh shit, I hope this isn't connected to exiting Mastodon and him going off the rails. Because let's be honest, he had his demons. They were very public. But no, sadly, it's just an accident. Just a shitty set of circumstances. And let's also be honest. Motherfuckers in 2025 can't drive. I kind of make a joke about it, but as you all know, I travel about 400 miles every second or third weekend to go and collect my daughter, bring her back home, drop her back off, and then come back. And it's almost a running joke to where I count the number of times I have to go out of my way to avoid a serious collision.
It's always like can you imagine me going over the German highways? I've seen all sorts of shit, really, like pellets, like some trucks losing pellets on a highway, or where there's no speed limit and you're like bumping into that shit with like 200 kilometers an hour. It's like you just have to be a bit unlucky and then you're fucked. It is what it is. So
yeah.
I mean,
well, it comes back to what I've said many times before. Make sure you max out the time that you have with the people that you care about, and increasingly, I think it's incredibly important to tell people why you appreciate. Well, firstly, that you appreciate them, and why you appreciate them. So when I'd never say it to Marco, of course, but when I if you guys see the conversation with Svartalv, there's definitely a brotherhood and a kinship there that we're not afraid to talk about, and I think it's important because you never know when something is going to happen that's going to turn the lights out for you or for somebody that you love, and what you don't want is to be left with the regrets of not having said the things you wanted to say to that person while they were alive.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, it all comes down to what we call destiny.
Yeah,
I would say, it's. I mean, I could go out, but I could leave my flat right now, like after our interview, and being hit by a fucking comet or something,
Yeah.
or being hit by a car and die.
That's the cruelty of it. You have your plans, you have your, you've got what you think is your road ahead. And then something comes, and it could be, as we spoke last week about Thomas Lindbergh, it could be a cancer diagnosis, or it could be something as sudden as an accident, but it changes everything. So,
Yeah.
if you are a close friend or family member of Brent Hines and you happen to be listening to this, my heart goes out to you. And I just want to say rest in peace, Brent Hines. There will never be another guy like him. If you have an opportunity to check out the interviews that he did back in 2015 on the Jasta podcast, they are some of the most hilarious, entertaining things I've ever heard in my life. Partly one of the things that inspired me to want to start a podcast to begin with, because I always thought if I could recreate what I felt listening to those conversations, I'd be on to something pretty awesome. But yeah, like I said, one in a million, and a guy whose legacy is going to be who will outlive this, to today's date, for many generations to come. There will always be people that discover. So, apologies for the interruption, but there will always be kids that discover Mastodon and discover Brent's work.
It's like especially sad since like he landed in a feud with his old band he created, and they played the Aussie farewell show as well, and he wasn't there, and that gives everything a bit of a different flavor in my head,
No, you know what? That's an excellent point. That's a really, really good point, and that is very sad. He should have been there, especially on at an event or an occasion of that magnitude. He should have been there. But anyway, all right. Let's move on to some music. First song that we're listening to this week is by one of your favorite bands. Now, I'm going to say it. I liked the Weg Einer Freiheit. You know that. I thought that that Nocturne was really good. I thought that Finstetter that came out before that I really liked as well. And this first single they put out, both me and the Sinister Minister really enjoyed. That single, of course, was EOS. They've now put out a new one, and it's actually, in terms of the running order on the album, it's the first song on the record. The article here says, in support of their oncoming studio release in Nern, Germans Der Weg Einer Freiheit put out a video clip for the latest new single, Martyr. We can probably predict what Marco is going to think of this, because I'm wearing a T-shirt, by the way, for those of you guys watching this, that signifies the last time that Marco got excited about a new release.
Yeah, that's the band called Red Lord, isn't it? Like, yeah.
I'm only teasing you, but anyway, let's listen to this. Who knows, mate? They might convince you. We might be seeing a big turnaround here, a big surprise. So let's give it a quick spin. pause there. What is it with you Germans and your long ass songs? That was 9 minutes, or that whole song is 9 minutes 26 seconds, which is why I played 3 minutes of it. But if we go into the Stellar Master Elite discography on Hologram Temple alone, we've got Null at nearly 8 minutes, Ad Infinitum at just past 8 minutes, Tetragon at over 15 minutes, and then you guys release these fucking things as singles. I'm only teasing, of course, but I mean, they the Weg Einer Freiheit do love themselves a bombastic intro.
And yeah, I mean, I can understand it because you lose yourself sometimes, especially with intros, and you lose yourself, and you think, at least that's my point of view, you know. When recording, you lose yourself in an intro, and you make it like as scenic as possible. And then you're like, holy fuck, that's like, yeah, in that case, like 3 minutes. But then you refuse to cut it short somehow. But what I wanted to say about that, like, with my aversion to things like that, and I think it's just me, but I absolutely detest German vocals. I'm sorry about
You've
that.
mentioned this before. You don't like
No.
German used in songs. Like you don't like it lyrics sung in German.
No, I don't like it. I don't like it, and that's what I'm always like constantly asking English speakers, like people that have English as their first language, right? Like, isn't it kind of annoying to you that you have to listen to basically all of the vocals of your favorite songs in your native language? Isn't it? It would really upset me, really.
Really?
I don't,
No.
yeah.
But you know what? This is also a German quirk, I think, because I have a friend who not of the metal scene, somebody I work with. She listened to one episode of my podcast. I can't even remember who it was I was interviewing, but she said, "Oh, you sound so German. I can't bear to hear it." I was like, "But you're German, so why do you take it so why do you take it so seriously?" I really love the German language. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, maybe it's because your regular German doesn't have the connection to the culture and the language and whatnot. And it's always when I'm abroad, for example, right? Like, I try to fucking avoid Germans wherever I am. Where you have all the countries. Like, I have colleagues from everywhere, from Greece, from Italy, from Spain, and they're always like, when they meet some of their own, so to speak, they're always like, "Oh yeah, how are you?" and whatnot, and I'm like, "Get the fuck away from me, please! Like, I have to get out of here."
Yeah, I would say I have a blanket ban on engaging with people beyond what I deem to be essential. So that's part of the joy of where I go on holiday. I'm isolated from anybody I don't actually make a point of wanting to be around. I hate, like, the idea of going to a resort, the idea of going on a fucking cruise. I mean, kill me now. I'd sooner fucking jump off the boat and drown in the middle of the ocean.
No, I would never do that.
No, I can't stand it. I absolutely cannot stand it. So I'm with you to the extent that I just don't like seeing people when I'm on holiday. So.
No, me neither. But especially Germans, because Germans are. You always like traveling Germans always have that kind of special flavor, which I don't like at all.
What flavor is that?
Yeah, that's some kind of like I have to ship around that right now, really, because I don't want to engage in conversations with them, because it's always the same on how cool they are and what they got them there, and then I'm just I'm not that guy.
Now that we have established that the Weg Einer Freiheit has triggered that particular trauma for you, what are your thoughts on the music?
it doesn't sound like the Weg Einer Freiheit to me. It sounds new, in a way, but yeah, I still can't. Like
you don't fucks with the lyrics.
Yeah, I still can't get my head around the vocals and being sung in German. I just can't. No.
Yeah, I don't have that problem, and I think it's really good. I think this album is actually, in my opinion, shaping up to be potentially the best thing that this band has ever done. That first single, like I said, excellent. This one, really good. It's an interesting choice as a single, but again, they don't have a song that is particularly short on this record. So I get where they're coming from potentially there, but it's a nice build-up. And I think one thing that is also... It was interesting when you were talking about the intro, and I was only teasing really about Germans and long songs and long intros, but there is in a lot of German bands a real cinematic quality to the way that you guys write music. If I think about the Ruins of Beverast, the Weg Einer Freiheit, Rammstein, definitely, and there's a ton of other bands that come to mind, but there's a lot of bands that lean into that cinematic aspect, not necessarily. Not you understand, ripping off ideas, but just that grandiose, huge soundscape, that bombast. I think there's a lot of German bands that really seems to resonate with them as an approach, and they therefore bring it into their writing style.
I think it's. I just can speak of myself, right? But if I speak of all of Germany, then hello. But I think an intro or like a building up to a song is as important as the song itself, right? So you want to create that kind of atmosphere, and like to that point where you get it, and then start the song, right? So I don't know if that's a German thing. I don't think so. But for me, it's really important to have intros, and you have samples and whatnot to build up to that atmosphere you want to have, right? And I don't know if that's a German thing, as I said before, but yeah, it's cool.
Well, I think they've done that very well on that song. That's another home run as far as I'm concerned. Second single, so they're now 2 of 2. Thumbs up. As a matter of fact, upgraded to top notch. Okay, next up, we've got 1914 with a brand new single. Ukrainian blackened death doom metal outfit 1914 will return with their 4th studio album, Viribus Unitus, on November the 14th, 2025, via Napalm Records. Alongside the album announcement, the band has also revealed their first single, entitled 1916, The Sudetrol Offensive. They've got a music video here. A bit of backstory to the song is something that they've shared here with us as well. It says, from May the 15th to June 10th, 1916, the Italian front saw one of its most intense clashes, the Battle of Asiago, also known as the Trentino Offensive. The Austro-Hungarian army launched a massive surprise attack, hoping to crush Italian forces and break into the Venetian plains. Nearly 200 battalions and 2,000 guns, including 280 heavy artillery pieces, were amassed in Trentino. The Italians, caught off guard, were pushed back, but held the line with fierce resistance. The combined toll of 230,000 casualties on both sides underscores the staggering human cost of the campaign, a brutal reminder of the mountain warfare that defined this front.
Agarra! Una pattuglia austriaca! Fuoco! Una pattuglia austriaca! Rispondete al fuoco solamente quando riuscite a vederli! Allo scoppio ci ritiriamo!
I definitely think that the best part of the song is the song that we just paused on now. That where the song starts to pick up steam and starts to build up after that initial blast. I think that's where it starts to get really interesting for me. And if I had to, to give my opinion on the song, if I had to rank my favorite 19 or let's say if I had to rank my 1914 albums by preference, I would go at number 1, Eschatology of War. At number 2, Where Fear and Weapons Meet, that they put out in 2021. And number 3, The Blind Leading the Blind. This song to me feels like more of a return to Eschatology of War. And as a result, I really like it. But what are your thoughts?
I think I have to choose my words carefully here now.
Go for it.
No, really. Let's say I don't like bands that are glorifying war as they do, like Kanonenfieber as well, and especially 1914, especially as they are a Ukrainian band. And I don't think that's kind of appropriate during these times we are in right now, because they are actively like choosing war as a topic and like kind of glorifying it. And I have my problems with it, to be honest. But music wise, it's like, like a continuation of Bolt-Thrower. But
there's definitely a bit of Bolt Thrower in there. I mean, I would say there's definitely a bit of, like, I hear some Polish black metal influences in there as well. It's interesting what you said about the war, because the thought crossed my mind as well that, considering the situation that their country is in, this would be I'm not sure if I were in that position if I would be inspired necessarily to write a record. But then at the same time, you look at it and you go, if you break down the content of what they're singing about on this song, the Italians again, let's go back to what they write here. The Italians, caught off guard, were pushed back but held the line with fierce resistance. I don't know whether this is intentional or not, but do we think that they may be drawing parallels with the Ukrainian people with what they're singing about here?
I don't know, because like they obviously draw their inspiration from World War One, and I don't know if that's any better than.
Yeah, but my point is the story that they're drawing a parallel to, is there a parallel there between what like as they're interpreting it? Is there a parallel between what the Italians did versus what the Ukrainians are doing right now?
I don't necessarily think that they thought about that. I think they're just picking random topics or random battles of World War One, and then they're just like turn it into songs. I mean, music wise, they are all right, okay, but like topic wise, I don't know if I would agree with that, to be honest, because that all sounds a bit like, I read a bit on Wikipedia. And just, I mean, like it's a sensitive topic for me as well. Like I've lost relatives in that war and the war that came afterwards there, and therefore, like I don't know if I am able to like it, even though it's musicality or musical wise, it's all right. But topic wise.
I understand. It is. I will say, when it comes to, and I know this is rich coming from somebody who loves music about devil worship as much as I do, but it does feel to me like the World War One thing has kind of been done to death a little bit. Between Mine and Werwer, Kanonenfieber, 1914, and all the other bands that have put out one-offs about the First World War. I mean, it's a topic that fascinates me a huge amount as well. But at the same time, like, there was a novelty to it when one or two bands had done it, but when more start to do it, it just, I don't know, it starts to lose the it doesn't feel as interesting anymore.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't want to judge these guys. I mean, music. I mean, they are fit on their instruments and whatnot, but the topics. It's it always brings back old memories and relatives to me, and I think it's a bit too much for me, to be honest. I mean, we all know history, so I guess.
Yeah, no, 100%, and that's totally understandable. I will, however, be putting you on the spot very shortly about the band Testament. Testament have put out a new single finally. It says here, Bay Area thrash metal legends Testament have announced their upcoming 14th studio album, Parabellum. It is set to drop on October the 10th via Nuclear Blast Records. The band also debuted the lead single called Infanticide AI, accompanied by a music video directed by Joey Durango. Now, here's something for you to think of as you're listening to this. We had a member of the Legion ask a question shortly after this came out. He dropped me a line on, and I want to make sure that I credit him here. It is Andre Korovu. He asked me a question on Instagram. Hey, Jackie, hope all is well. I have a question for you, and forgive me if this has already been asked on the podcast. What would be your top 6 Testament tracks? So you will be giving me a definitive answer straight after this, straight after we've given our thoughts on Infanticide AI. And, of course, there's a right answer and a wrong answer as well. So anyway, let's hear what Infanticide AI sounds like. So that song is distinctly un-German in that it is only 3 minutes and 25 seconds long. So we're going to pause there. Let's talk about the top 6 Testament songs before we talk about this single, because I think it will probably mean that people will either go, well, he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about when we give our opinions on the track based on what we said about songs. So I will start. Because I did have time to think about this a little bit, and again, like I said before, when it comes to these sorts of things, I love Testament and listen to them very regularly, so I can give an opinion like that pretty easily, and I also always go with what pops into my head first. So that's the rule that I follow. There are going to be a couple of selections in here. I'll tell you right now that people are going to go, "What the fuck are you smoking?" But anyway. My top 6 favorite Testament songs. The only one that's in order is number 1, and I'll wait till I'll work my way up to number 1. City of Angels off of the last album, Titans of Creation. Nightmare off of Practice What You Preach. First Strike is Deadly off the Legacy. I keep thinking of the re-recording album they did. The New Order off, shockingly enough, The New Order. Here's one that people are going to look at and they're going to go cross-eyed when they hear this one. Demonic Refusal of Demonic. to me, what a fucking way to open an album. And then my favorite Testament song, easily, I mean, this one required no thought at all. I will go as far as to say this is one of the best thrash songs recorded in the 21st century, and it completely fucking obliterates anything that the Big Four put out past 1995. Dark Roots of the Earth, off the album Dark Roots of the Earth. Those are my favorite Testament songs. What are yours?
I would say go to the Legacy album and would say Over the Wall. First Strike is Deadly, Alone in the Dark.
Yeah.
And
I was about to tease you and say, you're going to say, I like the first 6 songs of the Legacy.
No, yeah, but you know that's the Testament albums I grew up with. Like I didn't pay much attention to the later ones, I must say. Disciples of the Watch.
Mm-hmm.
Into the Pit.
Yeah, great song.
I guess that's it. I guess that's all I know anyway. So,
Testament has been a constant for me. My friend Andre, not Andre Korovu, who sent the question, but one of my best friends, Andre. He was always hugely into Testament, got me into them, and I've always listened to them, and it's been amazing to me that this band has weathered so many trends, so many changes, changing winds, changing tides in music, and they have just always stayed Testament. You know, when everybody else was trying to fucking play grunge, they put out Demonic and they put out The Gathering during the height of new metal. Never compromised, and you know, to this day make fantastic music as far as I'm concerned.
That's true, but you know, the last 2-3 Testaments they sound like some kind of, like, to me, right? That's my opinion. They sound a bit. What?
You are wrong for having that opinion. No, go ahead.
No, it sounds a bit like the thrash metal playbook, right? So as if they had a kind of instruction manual on how to build a song. It doesn't sound as unhinged and true in the sense they were back in the 80s and 90s. So it sounds
I can give you the unhinged, definitely. Their recent music is more polished. Dark Roots of the Earth is a phenomenal album. Brotherhood of the Snake, I think, is not quite as good. It doesn't quite get to the heights of Dark Roots of the Earth. It has a couple of songs on that are quite forgettable. But then Titans of Creation, I thought they brought it right back. There are some incredible songs on that album. Night of the Witch, the first single they put out off that record, superb. City of Angels, fucking excellent. As I said, it's one of my favorite Testament songs. No, I feel like they really still make very relevant music, and it's the thing I'm always amazed by is how a band manages to put out this quality of music at this stage of their career when they're this age, when so many of their peers have just turned into total and utter dog shit.
Yeah, I mean, they are great musicians, and of course they are crafting really good music there, but in the end, like for me, everything sounds the same. And if I look at that video, for example, and you have like a guy like Steve there on bass, for example, he looks absolutely bored. you know.
Steve is 57, mate. He's lived a life. The guy is, doing everything that he can to stay awake.
No, I meant that in terms of like he's a great bassist and like one of the best ever, probably. And he's standing there like just playing his parts and saying like, oh yeah, and thinking about like what to have for dinner, you know.
Well, I think this was one where we're going to have to agree to disagree, mate. I think it's a great song. I think the only thing that I miss from it is I like a bit of groove. I like a bit of a breakdown in thrash metal in particular. And, going back to Night of the Witch, there was tons of that. Night of the Witch, first single they put out off the previous record. There's tons of that. It's what I liked. I think it just adds a bit of bite to a song. They don't have it in this song, but I still think as a thrash track overall, as modern thrash metal, great. I like it very much. It is not, by the way, if I were to compare, because I know I was raving about it a couple of weeks ago. If I were to compare it to that last Fugitive single, Spheres of Virulence, Fugitive, I will say, unfortunately, does smack this. It smacks it around a little bit. It calls the infanticide AI its bitch. But this is it's still a very good song.
It sounds really strong, like especially in the beginning with the blast beats. When did you ever have like Testament blast beats? I don't know.
They've had them on occasion. I'm trying to think whether Demonic had it, because obviously Demonic was the closest they ever got to being full bore death metal. But let me ask you this question. I think I know the answer. A friend of mine said that he really disliked Chris Dovas's drumming on the single. And I've got to say, I massively disagree. I think his drumming sounds fucking great. I mean, he has very big shoes to fill. You don't just step up for Gene Hoglan and it's plain sailing. But I think he sounds magnificent. He
sounds great. Like I'm just... Yeah, if we are here to criticize, right? Like I would say the drums sound a bit too polished and too triggered, because I'm a massive fan of natural sounding drums. That would be the only thing I would criticize there. But who am I? But drumming wise, it's absolutely okay.
Your Marco Master Elite, your opinion, even though many times misguided, is very valued.
Yeah, is it? Yeah, but it's a bit too polished for my taste. So, but I mean, skill wise, I don't have anything to say because.
Now, right. I think again. I think I'm going to award it a thumbs up. But
me too. Yeah, thumbs up.
I'm gonna. Oh, really? Thumbs up from you too?
Yeah.
Okay, well, time to go from thumbs up to head down the toilet, because it's time for the swirly.
Oh, you like?
So. The swirly of the week this week could actually go to me, and I'm going to explain why in a second. It doesn't go to me, of course. I would have a move to combat anybody that tries to put me down the toilet, and immediately reverse it. But the reason why it could potentially be focused on me is I have talked over the years so much shit about TikTok on this podcast, and I still stand by it. It is a septic tank of fucking reprobates and degenerates, and most of the people that are on it should be sent away to the fucking gulags and never to be heard from ever again. But there was a guy, I think he runs an Instagram page called Bacon and Bits or something, that Mike Hill had on Everything Went Black, and he was talking about TikTok's virality, and I thought, let me just. It was something that had stuck with me for probably, if I think about it, probably years, because that's an old episode. But I thought a little while back, let me start since I'm doing all these reels and shorts and stuff like that now to promote the episodes. Let me start a TikTok account and just see how it goes. Turns out he's absolutely fucking right. The virality on TikTok is insane. I have had videos that have gone past 10,000, quite a few. I've had one that's gone, the Drogvale rip went, I think right now we're at about 27,000 views. And I have seen a steady uptick in subscribers as a result as well. So in fairness, not everyone on TikTok is a complete and utter fucking idiot. However, you are bound to receive some stupidity as you post perhaps slightly more controversial guests. And I had a really cool reel, a really cool clip where Spellgoth from Horner spoke about falling in love with black metal, but not going headfirst into the darkness. And he specifically talks about people that he knows who he very eloquently describes it as they are no longer connected to this earth, and meaning that they went so deep into the shit they decided to end it. But anyway, it's a great clip. People generally love it. However, we had one absolute fucking pleb step up to the plate to steal Swirly of the Week by a nose this week. They go by the name of Boxstiegel10. And in answer to somebody asking whether Horner are straight up Nazis, this person goes, Finnish black metal is always a red flag. That's gonna be my new voice for the sketch police online. By the way, that Horner, they known as Nazis. Yeah. So, the thing is, I was thinking about what he said there, and I thought to myself, you fucking absolute idiot. Like, do you know any of the men that you're talking about? Have you met any of the guys that are all supposedly sketch? And if all Finnish black metal is sketch, I'm sorry, but you don't belong in the scene. Like, I'm not about inclusion when it comes to black metal. I'm about exclusion, and you're top of the fucking list to not be here, not be part of it. I don't want you to be part of it. I don't want you to enjoy it. As a matter of fact, and I showed you the photo yesterday. As soon as I read that, I went on to Backstreet Merch Designs and I bought myself 3 Horner t-shirts because that's the level of support that I will give to a band who, by the way, I mean, anyone who still thinks that they're Nazis are fucking morons. I mean, you are an absolute
It's the same guys. It's the same guys that deem like impaled Nazarene as Nazis as well. You know, like how fucking stupid can you get? Like they are the exact opposite of Nazis. In my opinion, I've met quite a few Finnish people in my life, and they are just absolutely fucking trolls. They just like to take the piss, you know. I mean, I don't deny that there is some kind of sketchy bands up there, but if we are talking about the known suspects, then
Horner, Benson, bands like that. I mean, I just think if you don't sing about anything Nazi and you have publicly disavowed it, it doesn't matter whether Spellgoth played keyboards on one fucking half of a Pest Noir album. I'm like. The scene is the scene. There was a time where no one gave a fuck what anybody believed. It's not like he was a vocalist for Screwdriver.
Come on! Like there, you know, Weg Einer was writing lyrics for Darkthrone. Does everybody hate Darkthrone as a Nazi band? No, of course not, because they are not Nazis. I mean, you could factor in the Mayhem guys as well.
Yeah.
You know, is everybody hating on them? No. I seriously believe that we are far beyond that kind of woke, whatever you call it. Like, I think we are beyond it now because we have way bigger problems to deal with now. Yeah. You know.
Yeah, we're the final we're in the final vestiges of it. But what I would say is, when you chop the tail off the snake and it's thrashing around on the ground, it's still dangerous. And as I've mentioned before, you know, I have seen emails sent to promoters where they demand bands get taken off because they don't feel safe attending the show. Either way, if Boxstiegel10, what's his name? Boxstiegel10. If we were to find him, we're talking taking his lunch money, taking his phone, throwing his definite atomic wedgie and a double dunk down the toilet. Fuck you, that is the Swirly of the Week.
Yeah, now, back to school.
On what's name? Well, that's probably how school was for them. You know, like they say on Seinfeld: 7 periods at school, 7 beatings a day. All right. Let's, as we were talking about Bike Hill, let's check out the new Tombs single. So it says here, Tombs are premiering The Sunsets, the second advanced single of their upcoming studio album, Feral Darkness. The latter comes out on October the 17th, 2025. It's going to be released on Redefining Darkness. Said many times, I have heard this album in its entirety. It's, in my view, potentially a contender for the best Tombs album. In particular, if you enjoyed The Grand Annihilation, a lot of the best elements of that record are on this album and really fine-tuned, amplified, and just sounding fucking fantastic. So let's give The Sunsets a quick spin. Now, I think it goes without saying I can't be biased, or I can't be unbiased when I speak about this. Not entirely, anyway. Stressing once again that the friendship that I started with Mike started much like with yourself. I was a fan of his music, reached out to him, spoke, and a friendship formed. With you, it's like friendship, but also I hate you. So actually, I'm only teasing, of course. But so one of the things that I want to say I greatly appreciate and admire about Mike as an artist is he listens to a extremely wide variety of music, and he is constantly searching for new music. And I think drawing from a palette like that, he's able to take all of these different things that he hears, all these different influences, and then filter them through his own creative process, and he turns that into tunes. And the great thing about it is he therefore gives tunes such a wide kind of frame of reference and such a broad sound that he can do a lot of things within that framework, and it still sounds distinctly like tunes. If you think of the previous record as an example, Under Sullen Skies, I mean, that was generally speaking a very heavy, very aggressive record. Certainly in comparison to Feral Darkness, it sounded like Tombs. The songs off of Feral Darkness that we've heard so far, or that they've released so far, have sounded far more like the Grand Annihilation. There's a lot more of that post-punk that's part of it. There's a lot of gothic elements that are part of it. But again, whatever has come out in that creative process has still sounded like Tombs, and in my opinion is extremely effective. And for me, again, he's at his best when he's doing these darker songs where he's singing. I love his singing voice. I love the atmosphere created on this song, and once again, absolutely top notch in my opinion.
Do you know what I thought? Like the first thought that came into my mind was monotheist.
That's a really, really good comparison, actually. Really good.
That's because like a bit tamed and really emotional. That's what I heard in monotheist as well. So I guess I don't know if he wanted that, but it kind of gets me.
He's a very big Celtic Frost fan, as as he said on this podcast before. So I felt there were definitely Celtic Frost and Triptychon influences, like very, very visible on Under Sullen Skies. And actually, I think you're quite right. I think the connection here is quite. It's definitely there. It's definitely particularly once you point it out, I can hear it now. But again, whatever he includes in his frame of reference, whether it's Boy Harsher or whether it's Celtic Frost, the magic of what he does is the way that he processes that and turns it into a song. And that sounds distinctly like him. There's not another band that sounds like Tombs. Not one. No,
it's I absolutely love them. Yeah. It's they are unique. They are super unique, and I really like them.
They should be, in my opinion, a far more widely recognized and a far bigger band than they are. Yeah, they really should be.
Yeah, same.
Okay, I think we've got time for one or two more.
I think we've got time for the Der Märtyrer.
Which one do you want to hear?
Der Märtyrer.
Der Märtyrer. What the fuck are you even on about? It sounds like you got a throat infection. Der Märtyrer. Is it on the list of stuff that?
That's the album I sent you earlier when I said.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll tell you what. Hang on for 10 seconds. Let me get that up and let's give that a listen. All right, Der Märtyrer is the band that you were insistent upon me hearing.
Absolute.
All I'm going to say is this better be fucking good, or else.
The world needs to hear this, and I'm super serious about that.
Yeah. All right. Well, the band is from France. They do have 2 pentagrams. Actually, no. Sorry, I take that back. 4 pentagrams on the cover. Immediately a positive sign. What song do you want us to listen to?
Just the first one.
Just
That's
first
all
one.
right.
All right.
Yeah.
So they've cunningly titled their songs 1, 2, 3, and 4. let's hear what 1 sounds like. That is all kinds of spicy. That is fucking excellent.
It's it kind of sounded really shit on my end, to be honest. So I urge all of you into the Necrosphere's listeners to go to that page and listen to it and maybe buy it. Because that's an absolute.
By the way, because of the stream, when I nowadays when I've done the news rant to make sure that people get the best possible experience, I actually go through the effort of downloading the file and editing it in. So don't worry about that. You know what this reminded me of a little bit? Aborum. No, Aborum. The album with no human intervention. It's kind of like that album could have sounded, you know what I mean? Like I always found like those early Aborum albums, I remember reading about them in Terrorizer magazine, and they were talking about them being industrial black metal, and I always thought, wow, the idea and the way they're describing it sounds really interesting. But I always felt like with the exception, and I'm trying to think what the album was, whether it was Generator or With No Human Intervention, but I always felt like they only really got it right once. To me, this almost feels like a next step up from that particular period in a discography. It's a little bit more aggressive. It's a little bit rawer, but it's got those industrial elements in it. Fucking love it, mate. Fantastic.
It is really one of my favorite releases this year. It really is. It is because it's so unconventional and it sounds so fucking industrial and yeah, I'm. Like, find out yourself, listeners.
Well, for those who want to check it out, they are on Bandcamp, of course, because we're listening to it right there. They're on End All Life Productions, which is an imprint of Norma Evangelium Diaboli, and Norma Evangelium Diaboli is superb. So, ironically enough, they are, probably one of the labels that our friend Box Stiegel 10 will be crying himself to sleep about. But be that as it may, friend, I think we're just about at the end of our time. I do have a hard stop, unfortunately, because I've got a few things I need to do today. But thank you so much for being part of the news rant, mate. Always so much fun catching up with you. And we'll do this again very soon.
Aye. Bye-bye.
Legion, thank you so much for joining me. If you stuck around to the very end of the episode, I hope you enjoyed that. Big thank you to my guest, Marco. Big thank you to my guest, Svartalv. I will be back next week. So whatever it is that you are doing and wherever it is that you are, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you bad motherfuckers again next week.